2 in a row. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Whitman. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers in their last 2 starts have been awesome, scoring 90 points and demolishing British Columbia and Ottawa. A win this afternoon, their 3rd in a row, if they should achieve it, would move them into a tie for 2nd place in the West with the British Columbia Lions. In the Eastern Conference, the Toronto Argonauts won their first game after 11 losses against the Calgary Stampeders. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They've been working on defense and trying to stop Dieter Brock. They've added defensive end Reggie Lewis, acquired in a trade from the Calgary Stampeders. They will have 9 imports defensively, and they will be attempting and hoping to stop Brock, who is on a record rampage in the CFL. Ron Lancaster, can the Argonauts stop the Winnipeg quarterback?
Well, that's definitely the question that has to be answered. Every team wants to stop Dieter Brock. The win today will be a tremendous ally for them. And this is the question that we asked Coach Huscliffe before the game. Will the wind help or hinder in stopping Dieter Brock?
We hope it'll help us. Naturally, we'd rather have rain and wind, Ron, because with the guy as hot as he is with the great arm, the elements are about the only thing that seems to slow him down. But this wind does change the direction of that football. So we hope that while they're going into the wind, we can put really a lot of pressure on the coverage people and get them closer, and that ball will float a little bit. Maybe we can pick off one and slow them down. And then with the wind, you can always add a few points by the kicking game, and we hope we can take advantage of that.
The wind today will definitely be a factor, and any time the wind's a factor, the running game becomes important. The Toronto Argonauts have a rookie named Cedric Minner, who's about 190 pounds, and he's been a pleasant surprise for the Argonauts in an otherwise dismal season. The Argonauts are alive, and a lot of it's due to the running of this young back from Boise State. He's got almost 600 yards rushing. He's their 2nd leading receiver, and he also returns kickoff. So he's had a fine season for the Toronto Argonauts. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, as everybody knows, is led by Dieter Brock. If anybody can throw the football into the wind today, he's the guy to do it. With the strength of his arm, he'll be able to throw the ball a lot better, I believe, than the Toronto quarterbacks. I believe that the Winnipeg Football Club will have to rely a lot, though, on their defensive side of the ball. And when you talk defense, you talk James Reed. He's had an outstanding season for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and in some people in Winnipeg feel he is the best defensive football player in the league.
Well, on paper, a team 1-11 going against a club that's 7-5. It should be no contest, but stranger things have happened, and we'll be back with our national anthem right after we pause for this message. Blair Shallow is the referee this afternoon. Fine afternoon as far as the temperature is concerned. The mercury nudging 18 degrees Celsius. However, the wind is out of the south at 48, gusting to 70 kilometers per hour. And the wind very definitely will be a factor. Now, our national anthem. The Toronto Argonauts will be kicking off. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be receiving when we return. The veteran Zenon Andrusician preparing to kick off with the Toronto Argonauts. He has asked John Lowe to hold the ball for him. A very strong wind at his back. He should put it into the end zone. It bounces to Vince Faison in the end zone. Faison trying to get outside. And for a mishandled kick, he did an excellent job of running it back to the 34. Thrown out of bounds by John Lowe. Blue Bombers will start with exactly the same offensive lineup that was so overpowering in whipping the Ottawa Rough Riders last Saturday, 44-24, a game that saw Dieter Brock establish a CFL record, 41 out of 47 pass attempts erasing the old mark set by Tobin Rote many years ago. Handoff to William Miller. Miller scoots up to the 39-yard line, very close to a 5-yard gain. Leon Liskavich made the tackle on last year's Shenley Award winner as Rookie of the Year. Defensively, the Toronto Argonauts shape up like this. They have moved Jim Corrigal inside to defensive tackle. They have the newcomer Lewis with Clark at the defensive end spot. Rusk is in the middle, flanked by Apuna and Martini, and they have 5 imports in the secondary, anticipating, of course, that Dieter Brock will try and put the ball in the air this afternoon. Brock does put it in the air. Miller has a first down. The ball is at the 46. Ben Apuna made the tackle on William Miller.
All receivers just go out, and Brock just looks for the open one. He reads the linebacker, goes the other way, dumps the ball to Miller. First down. If he can throw those kind of passes, he'll have no trouble moving against this wind.
Well, Ray Yock, the Bomber coach, prior to the game, told Ron Lancaster and myself that really he had no set game plan. He wanted to see what the Toronto Argonauts would give him. William Miller tried to go inside. He stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Liskavich and Bruce Clark were both there to throw him back.
You know, Don, I think the reason they don't have a set game plan is that Toronto won their last game and then they had their break. So they've been off for 2 weeks. And with the number of people that they've been bringing in and out of Toronto this year, I don't think anybody knew who was going to line up back there. And it's very difficult to prepare for a team when they're making that many changes.
Well, Bruce Clark, number 54, the outstanding collegian who has played nose guard and defensive tackle, is at defensive end this afternoon and at the Toronto Argonauts defensive alignment. Swing pass to William Miller, looking for a block and looking for a first down. He may have achieved it before he was driven back by Tom Rusk. That's the thing that Brock has done so well in recent games, is read those defenses and flip that ball out to the backs coming up.
Well, the linebackers do a good job back here and get back underneath his inside receivers where he wants to throw the ball. They force him to lay it off to the back, which he's happy to do. And then William Miller makes a good move and gets close to the first down. When you lay it off to the back, you're hoping that that linebacker will come up and make the tackle right there, and therefore there's no gain. But he made the move, and he got inside of him, and he got up awful close to the first down.
The measurement reveals that the Bombers are just short of a first down. There's no doubt, however, that they are going to try and retain possession as they are driving into that strong wind, as we said, blowing out of the south at 48, gusting to 70 kilometers per hour. So the short yardage unit moves in for this 3rd and inches gamble. The ball at the Toronto 54. Dieter Brock drives straight ahead behind his offensive center, John Bonk, and he should have the first down.
Eating up time on the clock. What they want to do in this quarter, it's a good move by Toronto, really, with a young team, take the wind in the first quarter, hope for Winnipeg to make some mistakes and, you know, get some points early, because Winnipeg can be so awesome on offense that you don't want to take too many chances.
Brock coming off a 41 for 47 performance against Ottawa, 2 for 2 so far this afternoon. Quickly inside, he's 3 for 3, another Winnipeg first down, or very close to it, at the 41 of the Argonauts. Marcellus Green made the tackle, and Joe Poplawski, the leading pass receiver in the CFL.
All Poplawski does is go inside the linebacker to the open area. Brock reads the linebacker, hits Poplawski, and they get a first down.
Poplawski had a big afternoon against Ottawa, catching 11 throws. He came into the game as the league leader with 70 receptions. 1st and 10 Winnipeg at the Toronto 41. Inside was William Miller. Miller picked up 3, maybe 4 yards before he was piled up and then driven back. Tom Rusk had help from several people. Ben Apuna playing an outside linebacking position, a former Winnipeg Blue Bomber. Leon Liskavich inside at defensive tackle. Reggie Lewis, recently acquired from Calgary, and Bruce Clark at the end. Tommy Hudspeth in his 3rd game as head coach of the Argonauts. As to his future, he yesterday indicated he was not anxious to elaborate, although said that he did have discussions with Ralph Fazio about next year. Brock throwing, House has got it for a first down inside the 10. Marcellus Green made the tackle, and it will be 1st and goal for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers when we return.
The The Argonauts came after Dieter Brock there, and this allows Rick House to get inside the safety man across the middle, makes a fine catch, and now they're first and goal on about the 9.
This drive started on the Winnipeg 31 following the opening kickoff by Andrew Zischen. It's first and goal, Winnipeg. Brock, good protection again, incomplete. It appeared as though he was looking for Rick House, and House was being well covered by Zach Jones.
Yeah, he was covered that time. Dieter really threw the ball away. If he'd have tried to have made any attempt to catch the ball, I doubt very much if he'd have been able to hang on. Zach was right on his back, and he just threw the ball away, and no real harm done. I really believe, Don, with Toronto going to try to play a 4-3 with a 1 middle linebacker defense, Brock's going to have a field day.
Well, Brock had a field day against both the British Columbia Lions and the Ottawa Rough Riders in his 2 most recent starts. Second and goal. Brock will try and put it in the air again, looking into the end zone. Touchdown, Rick House.
Just a very simple pattern, Don. He just went down and broke to the outside. Brock threw the ball into the wind, didn't even flutter. They bring the outside backers, and Brock gets all the time in the world to throw. He hits Rick House. He's wide open. He's got 2 steps on Zach Jones, and it's 7 points or 6 points. Dieter gets all the time. He just looks around. He had a lot of time to throw. You can't give him that much time. You've got to put some heat on him.
10 plays and a drive from their own 31 for the touchdown with Rick House on the receiving end of the throw from quarterback Dieter Brock. Trevor Kennard with the point after. It is good. And with 9:54 left to play in the opening quarter, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead by a margin of 7-0. Dieter Brock coming into this game requires 31 completions to erase the mark of 304 pass completions he established just a year ago. He already has hit on 5, and the game is just 5 minutes old.
Don, it's when you look at the Toronto Argonauts, it's a very difficult situation. You have a new coach only in his 3rd game. He's rebuilding the football club. As everybody knows, they got like 16 rookies on their roster right now. Yet he's only 1 game away from making the Eastern Conference playoffs. So it's very hard for him to just say, well, we're going to evaluate these guys and build for next year, because as long as you have a shot at getting in postseason play, you have to work towards it. And I believe that this is going to make it doubly tough for him to make everything go the way he wants to in such a short period of time.
Trevor Kennard preparing to kick off for Winnipeg. Zach Jones and Cedric Minter go back for the Argonauts. They have only retreated to their 15-yard line. And that actually may be a little too deep because of the strong wind. Kennard is having difficulty positioning that ball on the kicking tee. In pregame warm-up with the wind at his back, Kennard was putting it through the uprights from 70 yards away. You see the ball just hang up in that wind. Minter takes it at the 20. Minter trying to follow that blocking up the middle, and he gets to the 38-yard line. He was stopped there by Ken Shanconi. Well, the Argonauts will be starting Conrad Holloway at quarterback. They've made a shift with Pearson going from a slot back to a running back position. The receivers the Argonauts possess, and their offensive line. An offensive line that in their most recent outing provided the necessary blocking late in the game for the winning touchdown against Calgary for this man. And he gets outside for a first down, taken out of bounds at the 50-yard line.
Paul Pearson did a good job right here for not being known as a blocker. Just a toss. He comes up and he hits Vernon Paul. Then he slides off of him, and Minter outruns him around the corner. And he picks up a first down. That's a well-executed play. And, it's very difficult to, see a guy like Paul Pearson, who was with us in Saskatchewan a few years ago. He's just not big enough to be a lead blocker, but he did a good job there.
Martin Cox goes wide to the right. Dorn comes to the left. The pitch to Minter. They try and go right. He finds a hole, and Minter is across the Winnipeg 50 to the 48. Another first down. His feet were pulled out from under him by Paul Bennett. So on successive plays, Minter picks up first down.
This is the formation you'd think you'd see. 3 receivers to the wide side. They just toss the ball out to Minter. John Malinowski pulls out, blocks outside on the linebacker. Minter cuts it in behind the guard, and they give him a seam, and he picks up good yardage.
Well, from early indications, this is going to be a wide-open offensive display by both sides. This time, Cox comes wide left. Dorn goes to the right. First and 10, Toronto. They are up to Winnipeg's 48. Seemed to be a bit of a mix-up there. A flag is down. Holloway's pass knocked down by Charles Williams. David Dorn appeared to move at the line of scrimmage ahead of the play. There's also a penalty flag down at the 35-yard line.
I think that's the flag down. He just, the wind carried it. That's the linesman's.
Yes, I believe you're right.
Offside, Toronto number 9, penalty decline, second down.
I thought for a minute it was in the secondary also. Looks like there's a little mix-up right here. Holloway starts one way, then comes back. He's going to throw inside on a curl pattern, throws it behind him. And pretty hard for anybody to catch it because it gets into that wind. It's going pretty good outside. Williams just got a hand on it, but couldn't hold it.
Second and 10 for the Argonauts from Winnipeg 48. Holloway is going to run out of there. He gets away from Helton and then goes down in front of Reggie Pearson for what appears to be a first down. And this is something that Holloway does so well. He scrambles most effectively. He picks up an Argo first down.
You'll see a blitz by the outside linebackers, which gives you man coverage in the secondary. The line do a pretty good job giving him time. He doesn't find anybody open, but with his ability, he gets outside, takes a look, gets the first down, hits the deck. Good move for a guy. He doesn't want to take too many shots.
I remember a great line attributed to Jack Goda a couple of years ago in referring to Holloway. He said he's tough to catch even in the telephone booth. Cedric Minner was upset after an advance of about 2. John Helton was the man who may have stepped in there to pull the feet out from under Cedric Minner. Defensively, Butch Norman and Pete Caton at the end slots. Caton coming back after suffering an ankle injury a few weeks back. Basically, this is exactly the same lineup that faced the Ottawa Rough Riders a week ago. 6:55 left in the opening quarter. Second down, Toronto. Incomplete. Holloway was looking for Pearson. He was belted just as he threw by Tony Norman.
That was tough. He took a heck of a shot right there by Tony Norman. It appeared to me that somebody just missed him, and it allowed him to get up a full head of steam. And, you know, when you're coming from that side, that's your blind side coming from there, and those kind really hurt a little bit. Got that helmet right up under his chin, got his arms under his arms, right around his ribs. Those kind hurt a little bit, I'll tell you. You don't want to take too many of those in one day or 1 year.
Don't you wish the flak jacket would have been invented sooner?
Oh, I had my own.
Position with a field goal attempt. It is good. A 44-yard field goal by Zenon Andrusician. And with 6:30 remaining in the first quarter, let's pause for this timeout. 7-3, the Blue Bombers lead the Argonauts. And next Saturday on CBC Sports Weekend, Canada Cup sailing from Hamilton, the E.P. Taylor Stakes from Woodbine Racetrack in Toronto, the British Motorcycle Grand Prix, and a feature on the Toronto Spitfire wheelchair basketball team. That's next Saturday at 3 Eastern Time on CBC Sports Weekend. William Miller has a gain of about 5 as he tried to go off tackle. Ben Apuna from the linebacking position made the stop.
Just a draw play off of drop back action, makes it look like a pass. Miller just steps to his right like he's going to block. Brock slips him the ball, and then he just tries to find a hole to run through. And he picks up 5.
Conrad Holloway may have been injured on that pass attempt of his when he was belted by Tony Norman just as he threw. Norman had his helmet right up underneath Holloway's chin. Brock, good protection. Eugene Goodlow has a first down. He's taken out of bounds at midfield. Actually, they mark it at the 54 of the Argos. A gain of 16 on that pass completion.
2-men-out pattern. Everybody else is going to block. He's just going to work one-on-one on the outside. Goodluck goes down. He bounces into Rose, and then he bounces himself into the open. It was kind of a little bit of contact, but, you know, they both hit each other, and he comes open, and Brock throws the ball. Now, when he's looking at Connors Holloway over there, it looked like he was checking his jaw. That's not a good sign.
No, it isn't. And if Holloway is unable to continue, Dan Minucci will be coming in. Inside quickly to House. A gain of 9. Zach Jones was the man who wrestled him to the turf.
That inside receiver is just ducking in under the outside linebacker. Then Brock's just finding the open man. He's trying to locate the middle linebacker, and then he'll throw to the other side. It's a very, very difficult pattern to stop.
The Bombers in this short yardage situation bring John Helton into the lineup along with Leo Ezerins.
Should have put Helton at fullback.
I think Big John might enjoy carrying the ball, as a matter of fact. Second and a yard, William Miller bouncing off tackle for a first down. The ball positioned at the 42 of the Argonauts.
Just straight power. That's what they bring John Helton and those guys in there for. They want them to move them off the line of scrimmage and let that back find a hole to run through. They're not looking for anything big, just first down.
The report from the Toronto bench is that Holloway is okay and will be able to continue.
Oh, he's talking. He's all right.
Miller again, good hold. Down to the 25. Marcellus Green finally halted his forward advance. A big gain of 17 for William Miller.
Nothing complicated here. Lead blocker goes through. The guard makes the block. Miller has sprung into the secondary right now. No one touched him until he got into the secondary, and a back is an excellent runner when you get him through that initial contact right there. There he's home free. The left guard just come through with his lead back, and they just opened it wide open for him.
Winnipeg, first and 10. The ball at the 25 of the Argonauts. Brock with time, throwing for House wide open. He couldn't catch it.
The wind got that one, Don. He threw that right into the wind, and it got out there, and it started to flutter a little bit, and then you lose sight of it. Brock's back to throw. He's got a post pattern to the inside, and then House goes outside and turns it up the field, and you see the ball starting to flutter. That wind got a hold of it, and anytime that wind gets it, once that nose isn't a perfect spiral, it's going to knock it right out of the sky.
And Ronnie, there wasn't a defender anywhere near Rick House. He was gone for his second touchdown had he been able to grab that one. Second and 10, Winnipeg. Over the middle, off the fingertips of John Konahowski. So it will be third and 10, Winnipeg, with 3:05 remaining in the first quarter when we return. It's third and 10, Winnipeg. A field goal attempt by Trevor Kennard upcoming. Normally, a field goal attempt at this distance would be little problem for the Winnipeg kicker, but with that strong south wind, it may be just a little more difficult than normal. It's wide, and in the end zone, the Argonauts finally play it. It's a single point for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, increasing their lead to 8-3.
I thought just a second there, Minner was just going to let it lay there. He started to go off the field. He thought it was going to bounce out of the end zone, and he started to walk away, and all of a sudden it stopped.
Wouldn't that have been the height of embarrassment for Cedric Minter?
He might be a rookie, but he's been here 12 games. He'd have caught some static over that. Well, Holloway's back in. He must be all right.
First and 10 for the Argonauts. The ball at their 35. Holloway is back. He fumbled the ball. Winnipeg has recovered. Pete Caton appeared to be the man who hit him. And the Blue Bombers get the football right back.
He makes a quick fake into the line, pulls his guard, and it's a bootleg action where he rolls out. He doesn't have any receivers open downfield. The ball slips out of his hand. He goes back to get it, but Pete Caton drops him, and then the ball's free, and there's going to be more blue shirts around than white ones. Watch this. He takes a good hit again right here, and then here come the Bombers to recover.
First and 10, Winnipeg. They are at the Argonauts 33. Incomplete, intended for Joe Poplawski. He was being covered by Marcellus Green.
Going to take a look at Holloway again. Coach Huck was talking to him, trying to explain to him. I'll tell you what, I saw the three receivers he had out on that play. None of them were open. The Bombers had all three of them picked up and covered, and he didn't really have anywhere to throw it.
However, he didn't want to throw it where he did.
No, he could have picked a better spot.
Second and 10, Winnipeg. Brock for House. He'll go out of bounds with a first down. He is forced out at the 15 by Zach Jones.
Same pattern he beat him for the touchdown on. And Rick House just comes down the field, pushes him off, breaks toward the sideline. Brock throws the ball right where it has to be thrown. He's out of bounds. It looks like they're going to work on Zach a little bit. They're playing a lot of man coverage in that Toronto secondary. Now Brock just looking to his outside. He sees House. House got 2 steps on him, and that's a lot.
Draw play with William Miller. Miller got inside the 10 and was decked at the 9-yard line by Tom Rust.
It's a good call down here. It's a good call anywhere because as much as Brock likes to throw the football, the Argonauts know that defensive line and they're going to have to wind up and go after him to slow him down. Anytime you run a draw, you try to keep that rush off of them. They just set it up. One back leads the other into the hole, and you normally have the big guy lead the little guy. So Huckalek will lead Miller.
2nd and 5, Winnipeg. 1:07 remaining in this opening quarter. Winnipeg in front, 8-3. Brock into the end zone, incomplete. In and out of the hands of John Konahowski.
The ball's thrown on the money. I think Don Rhodes got a hand in there and got his hand on the ball to knock it down. We'll take a look at it here. They got man coverage again. Brock has time. He throws it in there. And I think Rhodes just gets a hand on it and ball falls harmlessly to the ground. We'll take a look here at the ground level. I think he's got his hand there, or else John Konahowski got 3 arms.
Another field goal attempt by Trevor Kennard. 16-yard kick. It is good. And the Bombers increase their lead to 11-3 with 39 seconds remaining in this first quarter.
Well, this is tough when you have the wind and you're not able to move the ball down the field with any authority. You know, like in 39 seconds, it's going to turn around and it's going to be the Bombers' turn, and it's going to put the Argonauts in a real tough position because right now they have not shown that they can throw the football yet. Any success that they've had has been on the ground with Minner carrying, and they're going to have to keep that up next quarter. But in this quarter is the one where they wanted to get that passing game going to keep them off balance and put points on the board.
Ron, this game somewhat reminiscent of a game we did 2 weeks ago here at Winnipeg Stadium involving the Blue Bombers and the British Columbia Lions. Almost similar weather conditions, and the Bombers were able to control the ball in the first quarter, again going against the wind.
But it's a sign of a good football team, and that's what they did to the Lions, and that's what they're doing to the Argonauts. They're going to come out of this game, or this quarter ahead, and then they're going to get the win in their favor, and then anything can happen.
Kennard kicking from his own 35. And the ball is blowing off the kicking tee as Minter and Jones are standing at their own 30-yard line.
Faison says, "Don't you kick my fingers."
Yes, Vince Faison is holding the ball for Kennard. That kick bounces down to the 37-yard line. And on the attempted run back, John Martini got about 6 yards before being stopped by Ken Shanconi.
Real tough to kick that ball against the wind, and didn't go very far, and it bounced, and the linebacker has to handle it. You always hate to see anybody other than your running backs and receivers handling that ball, but he did all right here. They got good field position. Not much time, though.
Cox goes wide to the left, Dorn out to the right. Holloway under pressure, he fumbles the football. I believe Winnipeg has it again. Yes, they do.
Well, if you look on this, the way this play developed, they came after Holloway. Winnipeg's game plan was to blitz him and keep him in the pocket. And then the top of the screen on the right-hand side, you'll see Vernon Paul, who beats his block, comes inside, and he gets the hit on Holloway that causes the fumble. The hit wasn't a very hard hit. It's just one where you start to step forward to throw, and they grab you in the rib area and spin you, and the ball comes free. He just beats Paul Pearson inside what he did.
This should be the final play of the opening quarter. 11-3, Winnipeg leading Toronto. It's first down Winnipeg at the Toronto 40-yard line. The draw play with William Miller. He's forced to the outside and then dropped by Leon Lescavage.
Leon Alphabet.
There are a few of them in the lineup of both teams this afternoon. So that is the final play of the first quarter. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead us 11-3. producer and director taking a slight break and leaving the truck momentarily between quarters. Now we're back with the second quarter action. Poplawski on the sidelines. Excellent catch for a first down at the 28 of Toronto.
Well, Toronto did a good job in their first game down in Toronto by covering man coverage and coming up and forcing Brock to work to his outside. This time they're running that crossing pattern again between the two wide receivers. In this case, it's Karnahowski and Poplawski, and Brock just goes back and picks the open one. In this case, it's Poplawski. He's catching a lot of balls this year.
Winnipeg first and 10 at the Argonaut 28. Intended for Goodlow, touchdown! Oh, he made that look easy, didn't he?
Dieter won't be very happy with that throw. You know, that's not a normal Brock throw. Watch it. He got just a little bit of play action. He sends Huckleluck out in the flat. He looks inside for that little hot pattern or dump, and then he sees Goodlow going to the post. He gets it there. Goodlow makes the catch. He's into the end zone, makes it look awful easy. He takes three plays to go all that way.
There's little room in the scoreboard for a story, however, and it's 6 points Winnipeg. And the point after attempt upcoming by Trevor Kennard. 3 plays. The Bombers score the touchdown after recovering the Argo fumble, and it's now 18-3. The Blue Bombers in front.
Again, you'll just see the play action fake. Brock's got one-on-one coverage down the field. He hits Goodlow to the inside. It's, you know, really the ball wasn't thrown pretty, but it was inside where the defensive back had to come through the receiver to get to the ball, and he just couldn't do it. Goodlow slowed up, let the ball come to him, shielded his man from the ball, and scored 6 points.
Well, in 2 successive weeks, Brock has been chosen the outstanding offensive performer in the CFL. With his start this afternoon, he could make it 3 in a row.
He's playing extremely well right now. I was talking to him before the game down on the field, and he's really happy with the way things are going for the Bombers and himself. He said everything seems to be falling into place for him. And, hey, when he's throwing the ball like he has been in the recent weeks, you can see why they're falling in.
I think he might also be kind of happy with the contract he signed prior to the start of training camp.
Yeah, I would think so.
Zach Jones from his 5-yard line. Upended at the 23 by 3 Winnipeg tacklers, led by Bruce Wilkins and Vernon Paul. A 62-yard kick and a return of 21 by Zach Jones.
Well, I know Toronto would have certainly liked to have had a little better return right there, because that really keeps them in a hole going against this wind. Zach was our starting cornerback last year. He's from Louisiana Tech, and he played about 10, 11 games for us last year, and then we gave him the rest for a little while.
Fumbled again by Holloway, and he is having a lot of difficulty.
His 3 fumbles are all different, but they're still fumbles on like 3 successive plays. You know, you can't do that and expect to move the ball. You see here, this fumble occurs in the exchange between the center and the quarterback, which really, if you have one fumble between that exchange between your center and quarterback a year, that's too many.
It's now 2nd and 13 for Toronto. Holloway looking, completes the pass to Carinci, and he is taken out of bounds by Pearson. It's going to be very close to a first down for the Argos. Let's see where they mark it. I believe it will be the 34, and that is a first down.
They put their 3 receivers out, and it's almost the same play Winnipeg throws, except Holloway rolls into it. They bring Martin Cox down the field, and he crosses to the inside, and then Carinci crosses right underneath him to the outside, and it gets the defensive back lost. And as you can see, he'll be open 2-3 steps. And Holloway got the ball there, so everything's okay. At least we didn't fumble that one. Can't afford those.
Drop play was set. Oh, he hit. James Reed, the middle linebacker, really punished Cedric Minter.
Boy, that's, you know, they were talking with Coach Shock about how well Reed has played for him this year. Well, you get a real good look at him right here. He reads the draw, and he steps up in there, and bang. He beat the tackle to the hole, and he met Minter. Watch his head pop right here. Boy, I'll tell you, that hurts.
Must be a feeling of helplessness when you're standing in that hole and you see that linebacker coming at you. 2nd and 10 for the Argos. Holloway's pass incomplete, looking for Carinci again. Paul Bennett and Vince Faison were both covering the Argonaut receiver. Faison leads the Blue Bombers in interceptions. He has 5 this season, and he certainly feels more comfortable playing inside than out on the corner. He perhaps lacked the speed to play that corner position, and Don Burrell and Charles Williams, as far as defensive coordinator Leo McKillop is concerned, have the speed more than Faison.
He's a good hitter, so he can play in.
Third down caught by Andrew Zischen, the first punt of the ball game. See how it hangs up in that wind? Bennett trying to return. He picks up maybe 5 yards before being knocked over by John Martini. We have 12:03 remaining in the first half. Winnipeg leads by 15.
Bennett coming back with the ball, gets a good block by Reed right here, puts 2 hands on the ball, goes to the ground, and the Bombers have possession. But an excellent block by James Reed. The guy just made the big hit for him, comes back and made a good block on Meeks.
This afternoon, Brock already hitting on 11 of 16 attempts. William Miller bouncing off a couple of tackles, but he could not escape the grasp of Tom Rusk at the 50.
They've been happy with the play of Tom Rusk. He's been around there for quite a while. Before he was able to get onto the roster, he was on the reserve list for a long time, but he's got in there, and he's doing a pretty good job for him. At least they feel, you know, he's got the ability to play in there. He's young, as this whole Argonaut team is, and it's somebody that they maybe can build with.
Out of the University of Iowa, he was the Argonauts' defensive player of the game in their victory over the Calgary Stampeders. Brock flipping it to William Miller. Penalty flags are down, and Miller gets a good block from Poplawski, and that enables him to get outside for the first down. But there are penalty flags down. One near the 50-yard line, one back at the Winnipeg 45. That usually indicates a holding call against Winnipeg. There's the signal by referee Blair Shallow. There was also a flag downfield. As yet, we have had no interpretation of that one. The injured player is Marcellus Green.
He took a good hit from Joe Poplawski there as Miller was trying to cut back this way toward the sideline to get outside. Marcellus Green tried to chase him, and Poplawski let him have it.
Phil Jones will be coming in.
Holding, Winnipeg number 68, pass interference, Toronto.
Holding against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Larry Butler. And pass interference against the Argonauts.
As you see Poplawski coming right here, there's Marcellus Green, and the Winnipeg receiver got him in the hip with his shoulder or his head, one or the other, and that got Miller outside for more yards and also caused Marcellus Green to leave the game for another play or two. He looks okay, though. He's running pretty good.
Green out of the University of Arizona, a highly publicized signing by the Toronto Argonauts. He had a bit of a problem adjusting as he played several positions prior to moving into that inside halfback spot. They feel he's most comfortable there. Incomplete. The second down attempt was aimed in the direction of Eugene Goodlow, and with 10:58 remaining in the half, Winnipeg is forced into a punting situation. The first kick of the afternoon for Bob Cameron. Either that hat's too big or her head's too small. One or the other.
Maybe she's got it down there so the wind don't steal it.
Now, this will be the first punt of the afternoon with the wind. Let's see how Bob Cameron hits it. Oh, the Argonauts are going after it. Good kick by Cameron, handled by Carinci. And Carinci is brought down at the 24 by Vernon Paul. A 50-yard kick and a 12-yard return. Tuesday, meet the businessman warrior. He's the new breed of executive created by the growing business of relocation, counseling for terminated executives. After the Axe, a special docudrama Tuesday night on CBC. Meager was upset at the 25-yard line by John Helton. Helton, a tower of strength inside for Winnipeg.
That's a pretty good shot right there, Don. They tried to fool him with just a little counter action, you know, something to help him going one way and then come back the other. But John didn't go very far, and as you see right here, he's going to stick the shoulder right into about the thigh area and just flip him. Helton's been known to do that to a lot of people for a lot of years.
He spent most of his CFL career being double-teamed and triple-teamed. I feel like a relaxing afternoon, and he's only got one person after him. James Ray blitzing from his linebacking spot, drops Holloway for a loss back at the 12-yard line. Vernon Paul was also applying pressure. Well, Leo McKillop said they would be blitzing.
As you can see, Reed, they open that seam, and then he does the rest. He's just coming. They pull him up. Tony Norman forces Holloway to pull up, doesn't allow him outside. And when he does that, you have Reed coming in right behind him to make the sack.
9:38 is the time left in this first half. Holloway has only hit on one passing attempt so far today. He's been under tremendous pressure every time he has dropped back to throw. Ball all that much either. Paul Bennett looking for that seam up the middle. He finds it for a gain of about 10 on the return before being straightened up by Cedric Minter. A kick of 43 yards by Andrew Zischen. That's a pretty good kick into that wind, and a 16-yard run back by Bennett. Bennett leads the punt return people in the CFL, and of course he holds the league record.
That's a great kick right there by Andrew Zischen. And Bennett finds a crease up the middle. He's going to get a good lick right there, and then Cedric Minter gets a pretty good hit on him, and he makes a good return, and the Bombers are ready to move again.
Ball at the 39, Winnipeg 1st and 10. Brock swinging it out to Hucklock, coming out of the backfield as he felt the pressure coming from Bruce Clark.
He'd like to have that throw back again because Hucklock was wide open, no one near him, and the ball was just behind him to where he couldn't turn around and get it. But again, he's just reading linebackers. These are very quick passes, very hard to defense, because with Brock, they're rookie secondary number 1, and Brock's going to pick on them when they're in man coverage.
Well, that's not a bad passing percentage, but Dieter Brock must feel as though he's having a bad afternoon in comparison to his 2 most recent outings. No, Konahowski could not hang on. There was also a penalty flag in the Winnipeg backfield. Albert Roberts hit Konahowski as he went up. It appeared as though he was going to haul that pass in, but he could not hang on.
Brock gets some time. Konahowski's just running down and coming to the inside. Brock throws the ball high over the linebacker. John went up to catch the ball, and Konahowski had it in his hands, but he took a good hit. When they hit the ground, the ball popped free. But it wouldn't have mattered anyway, I don't think. I think they was holding on the Bombers.
Roberts coming off the reserve list. 6'2", 195-pounder from Savannah State. And he and Don Rose on the other side are undoubtedly going to be tested this afternoon. 3rd down, Winnipeg. The ball at the 39 of the Argonauts. A field goal attempt upcoming by Trevor Kennard from 46 yards out. It will be long enough. It is good. Yards for Trevor Kennard.
The ball landed clear out of the end zone. So, you know, really kicking with that wind today, he could go after a new CFL record.
Well, as I said, Ron, in the pregame warm-up, he was splitting the uprights from 70 yards away.
Shouldn't be allowed to kick a ball that far. You know, 70-yard field goal, that's...
A couple of years ago, Dave Cutler attempted one with the wind from 70 yards against your Saskatchewan Roughriders.
I think it was 75 yards and it went wide. You know, it was long enough, it was this wide. I couldn't believe it.
Cedric Minter trying to go outside. He may have picked up a couple of yards.
Winnipeg's defensive backs now are sitting up pretty close. They know that going into the wind, and Holloway hasn't had that much success throwing the football. They're going to crowd those receivers, which is going to put them in a good position to force on the run. And as you see right there, they get across the line and turn them into those linebackers, and those linebackers are having a field day.
Second and 8 from the 37. Complete to Pearson. Pearson breaks one tackle and then falls at the 47. A first down for Toronto.
Well, when you send 3 people out to one side of the field and you're going to blitz, you still have to have 3 people pick them up. Holloway comes back, and you see Ezrin's trying to blitz inside, which means there's no linebacker there. Pearson sort of slips out of the backfield, just turns around in an open spot, and Holloway hits it.
Actually, Winnipeg was fortunate that Pearson fell, or he might have gone for much more.
He had a blocker in front of him.
6:53 is the time remaining in the half. First and 10 Toronto. They're at their own 47. Cedric Mitter picks off the first tackle, the first hit by Pete Caton, but then runs into 3 people and is driven back.
They just tried to run a trap there against an odd defense like that, and it's a long trap for that guard to come, but the middle linebacker's not being fooled, and he's just sitting right in there. He's following the back. Wherever the back goes, he's going with them. All right. This is John Helton's life story. They love to double on John Helton. They block down, turn him to the inside, but when they do that, somebody else is only getting single blocking, and he'll be there to make the hit.
Second down. Pressure, and Holloway trying to get away. He is caught by Tony Norman and by Pete Caton. It was Ron Shirkus who applied the initial pressure. 6:07, the time left in the half. The Toronto kick right after this. Paul Bennett is back, along with Gary Rozalowicz, for this third down kick by Zenon Andrusician. The Big Z has been hitting that ball well into the wind. The Argonauts gambling on third down, and it's going to work. They get a big first down. A direct snap to Cedric Mitter, and he goes out of bounds at the 43. Well, Tommy Hudspeth gambling on third down, and why not when you're trailing 21-3, and it proved
always
successful.
Nice plays when they work. Direct snap to Cedric Minner. You'll see 54 Clark, and I can't really tell who that is. Peter Mueller, I think, coming around the corner to lead him. Minner gets outside. Clark's leading him down the field. Minner's got the first down, picks up some more yards, and then just kind of steps out of bounds when they get close. There's no sense getting hit if you don't have to.
Well, the Argonauts retain possession. A gain of 22 on that gallop by Minter, and it's first and 10 at the 44 of Winnipeg. Holloway gets the pass away, and it's complete to Minter, and Minter picks up about 6.
Well, the Winnipeg front four are getting a lot of pressure on Holloway, and this is a little counter action with a fake inside, and he's trying to roll outside behind it, and it didn't slow the Winnipeg defense down a bit. As you see here, he makes 2 fakes into the line. Tony Norman comes shooting in there. Holloway jumps to get the ball to Minter. Minter makes a good catch and picks up yards, but picks up about 7 or 8. But Holloway's getting a lot of pressure, as you'll see right here. Watch Tony Norman come into the picture, right there. Boy, it's tough to throw when you're on your back.
Back to the live action. Cedric Minter gets away from one tackle and then gets the first down. Reggie Pearson and Pete Caton both had a shot at Minter. He was able to spin away from them, and the Argonauts make their deepest penetration of the afternoon.
Minter got shaken up a little bit there. I couldn't exactly see just how it happened, but I saw him get outside of Caton, cut back to the inside. Took a couple pretty good shots going down.
Cedric Minter, the 5'10", 190-pound rookie from Boise State, has been just about all the offense the Argonauts have had so far today.
Well, they'll take a look at him. He seems to be okay.
At halftime this afternoon, Brian Williams will take a look at the CFL in action during the past week, and Ron Lancaster will have the highlights of this afternoon's game. Phil Caldwell will come in to take Minter's place.
Well, I think Minter will be back. He doesn't seem to be too bad a shape right there. He's had a good season for a rookie coming into a very, very tough situation. He's got to be wondering what this game's all about.
Well, with his performance this afternoon, he should go over 600 yards on the season. He's also been a valuable man in their passing attack. First down, Toronto at the Winnipeg 29. Holloway dumping it off, intended for the back. Pearson, incomplete.
It's exactly the same play he just ran, only went to the other side of the field with it. And instead of continuing out, he'll stop and throw back here to Pearson and trying to set up a screen to the backside. He rolls to his left, stops, comes back. Pearson can't hold the ball.
Those are the type that have to be caught.
You got to have them.
Well, Cedric Minter apparently was just winded and will return to action, most likely for the Argonauts. Second down, Holloway in trouble. He is down back at the 41 by Ken Sanconi.
There's just not any help for him out there. He didn't have a chance that time. He started to set back up the throws. You'll see he sprints a little bit to his left. He stops. Tony Norman gets inside, and he puts the heat on him, forces him back where he doesn't want to go because that's the side the linemen are shoving him to. His offensive line are pushing him that way to keep him away from him. Tony Norman runs him right back into Sanconi, and he's sacked.
Well, the last time Andrusician trotted out, the Argonauts fired a direct snap to Cedric Minter, and he picked up the first down on a romp of 22. I think this time, however, Andrusician will be punting from midfield. 3:35 is the time remaining in this first half. The kick bounces at the 9-yard line, picked up by Roslovich, and that immediately draws a flag, and no yards infraction most likely against the Argonauts. A 32-yard kick, actually make it 26 yards.
Penalty flag thrown in error.
That's right. I didn't think there was any no yards. I thought that's good to see a referee do that because the guy got out of there. He turned and ran right out of there. That was a good move.
Well, a return of 9 for Gary Roslovich as referee Blair Shallow indicates the penalty flag was thrown in error. So with 3:17 left in the first half, it's Winnipeg, 1st and 10. The Blue Bombers are scrimmaging at their own 23. Brock swings it out to William Miller. He's got some blocking out front. He has a first down as he strikes to the 38. John Bonk threw a key block out in front of him. It'll be a Winnipeg first down when we return. Well, the Argonauts defensively have to figure out some means of stopping Dieter Brock, but at the moment, at the Argonaut bench, the offensive line has to try and figure out some means of protecting Conrad Holloway.
Yeah, he hasn't had much protection today. It's they're putting the heat on him from all sides. It doesn't seem to be just one person. They're taking turns.
Brock for Goodlow. He overthrew him by a good 10 yards.
I think Dieter saw Goodlow was going to be covered. He had a safety man inside to help him, and he just threw the ball away. Just threw it a long way down the field.
21-3, Winnipeg leads. Winnipeg 2nd and 10. The ball is at 137. Poplawski and Konahowski come wide to the left. Rock swings it out to Dan Hucklack, looking for a first down. He's got it.
Come on, Ben.
Good block from Eugene Goodlow, enabling him to pick up the additional yardage.
Brock spread his receivers all across the field that time. Just went back, looked for somebody downfield. Argonauts had him all covered. He drops to Hucklack. Goodlow comes back, makes the block, then Hucklow just gets to the outside and makes the first down and shoved out of bounds.
Winnipeg 1st and 10. They are at their own 50. 2:41 is the time remaining in the half. Brock steps up, throws, and it's Hucklack again for a gain of 5.
Had a lot of time to throw the football that time. He must have looked at 3 or 4 different people and ended up having to dump the ball short to Hucklack, I think, and he got 5 yards, so he's still moving the ball. Brock's back in that pile somewhere, and just as he lets it go, Corvo, I think, gets hold of him, and he just says, come on over here. Let me tell you a story.
Inside again to Hucklack. 3 passes in a row, and another Winnipeg first down to the 38 of the Argonauts.
He's just having a field day, just dumping the ball over the line of scrimmage on what you call dump, hot, whatever. The middle linebacker goes one way, Brock throws the other. The outside backer fell down, and Hucklack's big game.
This drive started, remember, at the Winnipeg 23-yard line. 2:12 is the time remaining in the half. Brock to William Miller. Miller caught by Ron Southwick. Tom Rusk was also there.
Brock's reading extremely well again today. They dropped all their backers deep this time in the zone, so he just drops it underneath to his back and lets the back do the rest, and the back gets 8 yards. And Well, that's not any way to stop that when a guy gets it going. If they go man, he hurts them downfield. If they go zone, he dumps it in front of them.
Ronnie, I'm going to correct you there. They didn't quite get 8 yards. They only picked up 6. William Miller will try to get the extra 2 right now, and he's going to be close as he's to the 28. Again, Ron Southwick came over to make the tackle.
Just a draw play. The only thing they've been doing is running a draw and then a lead and then letting Brock throw the football. That's what they do the best. They'll measure it, and we'll see what happens.
Ron, you made a comment earlier about Dieter Brock reading so well. You've watched him for a number of years now, and this is something that he did not do when he first came into the league.
Oh, yeah, I can remember back when Dieter would just go back there and he decided in his mind before the ball was snapped to, he was going to throw it to, and then he'd just go back and wait for that guy, and he'd either throw it to him or throw it away. But right now, he's reading everything that goes on out there. He's in complete control. He understands defensive philosophy, and he's able to pick them apart because of it. Coach Jock has done an awful lot of work with him and has done a good job in training him, and he sees all the benefits right now, last few years.
3rd and less than a yard for the Blue Bombers, and they, of course, are going for it. Brock will keep, and he will get the first down. 1:38 is the time left. The Blue Bombers threatening to add to their 21-3 lead. At halftime, as we mentioned, Brian Williams will be along with all of the highlights of the past week in the CFL. Ron Lancaster will take a look at the big plays in the first half of this football game. They're going to call for another measurement. I may have been premature in calling it a first down, but I don't think so. I think they've got it by about a yard.
Yeah, he's over that 2nd yard line there. That's what he needed to get. I don't think it's close.
Well, it's more than a yard past the forward marker. The fans reacted when referee Blair Shallow called for the yardstick. However, the Argonauts said measure it, so he complied with the request.
They're tired. They want a little rest. That gets them a few more deep breaths of air, and now they're ready to go. They know Brock's going to throw. They got to rush him.
Quickly over the middle, Rickhouse, another first down at the 21.
Well, I'll tell you what, you don't stop that one. I think it looked to me like he was throwing the ball to Huckaluck, and who shows up but Rust, and the ball goes right over his head into another receiver's hands. That's pretty tough to stop.
Well, Dieter Brock is certainly on a roll. He has been for 2 weeks now. From the 16, first down, Brock into the end zone. Incomplete, looking for Rick House. He was being covered by Zach Jones, and they both go out of the end zone. It will be 2nd and 10 from the 16.
The Winnipeg offensive line did a good job picking up their man, and Toronto came after him with the outside linebackers, which forced the 2 backs to stay in and block, and they gave Brock a lot of time to step up into the pocket. They just got him bunched into the middle. Brock steps up into the pocket all day. Throws the ball nice and far. Zach Jones got good coverage on him. It's just too far for everybody, but that's good offensive line blocking.
Brock has certainly had the time to throw, and he'll be trying to unload again. He goes outside this time, into the end zone, overthrew Rick House. He again was being covered by Zach Jones.
That one got away from him. They had the play action pass on, and Brock ended up rolling all the way to his outside, which gave House time to go in and then back deep down the field. The ball just got thrown at him. You see right here, they get the linebacker caught inside. Brock gets outside. Just gets it up in the wind. It sails too far to the inside. Rick can't make the play. Zach Jones had good coverage that time.
So with 1:02 remaining in the half, Trevor Kennard will try for 3. Kick is good. A 23-yard field goal by Trevor Kennard, and it's now 24-3. Winnipeg leading the Argonauts.
Awful tough on a lot of those young defensive backs for Toronto. You know, you're facing a good set of receivers, and you're facing a quarterback, as you've mentioned many times, that has been hot of late. Even when he's not hot, he's good. I mean, when he's like 41 for 47 is unbelievable, but he's actually thrown the ball well today also, even though his statistics won't be quite that bad or that good, depending on whose side you're on. But those 4 defensive backs from Toronto got to be amazed at the way that ball just keeps coming to the open man.
gets to Minter. Minter breaks one tackle. He's got a first down. Out to the 46-yard line with, well, 54 seconds showing on the clock.
Toronto, I'd like to see him get something going here. This has been their whole offense today, really, has been the running ability of Minter. As you'll see here, he starts to his left, cuts back inside, finds a seam, and gets down to where Bennett's forced to make the play, and he has a first down.
Minter again. He's caught almost immediately. John Helton was one of the people there.
Winnipeg will be content to let him run the clock out if they want to.
Yes, only 37 seconds remaining in the half. Minter has carried 11 times for 73 yards so far this afternoon. We have a timeout called by the Argonauts, and we'll be back right after this. Well, after consulting with head coach Tom Hudspeth, Conrad Holloway comes in, pitches to Cedric Minter, and Minter picks up about 6 yards. He'll still be a couple of yards shy of a first down with 33 seconds remaining in this first half.
Well, I think they were just trying to get the first down and kill the clock so that they could keep Winnipeg from having the football one more time. You'll see here as he comes outside, Caton turns it back in, and when you turn back in, there's a lot of people around. He puts his head down, he comes right in here, ends up getting a good shot right there by Reed again. Reed has handed out some good hits today.
Tough when you start playing defense when you have the ball, isn't it? A kick by Andrew Zischen. Picked up by Paul Bennett. He fumbles the football. It's recovered by the Argonauts. There are also penalty flags in the play, and I think it will be a no-yards charge against Toronto.
Ball hit the ground and bounced back, and Bennett gambled, and he just came in to get it on a dead run, and he got him trapped in the no-yard zone, but couldn't hold the football. So there's only 4 seconds left. What do you think? Think Brock could just drop back here and throw one to the end zone?
No yards. Toronto number 72. Winnipeg first down.
It might even be a field goal attempt by Trevor Kenner. Yes, I think it's going to be.
Bennett just comes in on a dead run to try to grab that ball. It gets bouncing backwards. It's not a bad move because you got him trapped in there like that. It got him 15 yards, and it's going to give him a shot at an awful long one.
This will be a CFL record if he's successful. It will be a 65-yard field goal try by Trevor Kenner. Now it's going to fall short, and it's wide. Minter, coming out of the end zone, simply runs out of bounds. There are penalty flags on the play, however. Clipping is being charged against the Argonauts. I think Winnipeg will probably decline it. Winnipeg did not get the ball back.
Blocking below the waist, Toronto number 76, penalty decline, the end of the half.
So that is the end of the first half. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers head to the dressing room with a rather comfortable 21-point lead. Stay tuned for our halftime show.
Last Sunday afternoon, Montreal's Olympic Stadium, rumors had this man, Vince Ferragamo, returning to the NFL. Not so, said Ferragamo. I intend to honor my Montreal contract, and he started against the Stampeders. The storyline here, though, the Montreal special teams and the defense. Here is Butler taking Mike McTagg's punt. Excellent return, and finally, something to cheer about for the fans at Montreal's Olympic Stadium. Still in the first quarter, Vince Ferragamo to the rookie from the Big 8 Oklahoma Sooners, number 20, David Overstreet. The gain, 24 yards, setting up the Montreal touchdown. Again, David Overstreet, this time on the ground. Montreal touchdown, the only touchdown the offense would score. Bruce Threadgill passing to Willie Armstead. Jim Marshall forces the fumble, and eventually Marshall recovers the football. The Alouettes offense and defense dominating. Threadgill again passing, but look out. Once again, veteran Jim Marshall steps in front to make the interception. Montreal touchdown, 15-0. Still in the first quarter, J.T. Hay to punt. It is blocked, and the veteran Junior Ayu falls on it for the touchdown. Defense scores again, 22-0 Alouettes in the first quarter. That was all they needed. In the second quarter, Bruce Threadgill to James Sykes, 41 yards to touchdown, but Montreal hung on to win 22-16. Coach Ardell Wiegand can't believe it. First the Argonauts, now Montreal. He was fired 2 days later. Jim Eddy is smiling. It would fade within 7 days. Later that afternoon, a jam-packed Taylor Field, Regina, those great Rough Rider fans showing appreciation for an amazing comeback in 1981. Number 2, Tom Clements, by miles the best quarterback in the Eastern Conference to the former Argo Steve Stapler, 40 yards. Hamilton, the only Eastern team to match the best in the West. The touchdown, Clements, the former Rough Rider Leif Patterson, 7-3 Hamilton. Now, fourth quarter at Taylor Field. Will the cardiac Rough Riders stage and another amazing comeback? Joe Barnes to Joey Walters. Up the middle, the gain is 18 yards. Again, Barnes to Walters for the completion. This time, 14 yards with 4:54 to play. 5 plays later, Barnes was in for the touchdown. The former Alouette. Did Montreal ever use Barnes now? Rough Riders trailing 23-12. The comeback had begun. However, with 1:36 to play, Tom Clements to the former Alouette Keith Baker, a 20-yard gain that sets up the winning touchdown on the next play. Clements to Crawford, 2-yard touchdown, 30-12 Hamilton. The Rough Riders in 1981 simply refused to quit. Joe Barnes, the touchdown to Edwards, and the fans love it. On the ensuing kickoff, Watson goes for a short kick. Leroy Paul fumbles. Steve Dennis, the former Argonaut, is there to pick it up. Returns at 44 yards for the touchdown. Barnes went in for a 2-point conversion. They fall 4 points short. 2 leading candidates for Coach of the Year. Outstanding jobs in 1981, Baraghelli and Cush. They were mounted and ready to charge in Calgary last night, home of the 1988 Winter Olympics, and what a difference a week makes. Remember, even though they won last week, Montreal's offense anemic, last night it was non-existent. There is Ferragamo fumbling, Walker of the recovery. Now the touchdown by James Sykes. He makes it interesting and eventually recovers his own football. J.T. Hay, a personal best in field goals in 1981, 52 yards, 13-3 Calgary. The Alouettes going to the Dogs at McMahon Stadium. And how Ferragamo is intercepted by Palizzetti. Another Calgary interception, and by now, the Stampeder fans were almost blasé. The Calgary touchdown, Bruce Threadgill, the quarterback, the pass to Holland, and the Stampeders strike again. No trouble with Montreal. The Alouettes continue to play giveaway. This time, Ferragamo is intercepted by Merv Walker. In one short week, Jim Eddy's smile has disappeared. Jerry Williams savors his first win since returning to the CFL. Week number 14 in the CFL.
It's been the Dieter Brock Show at Winnipeg Stadium once again as the Blue Bombers lead the Toronto Argonauts 24-3 after 30 minutes.
As far as highlights in this first half, it's been all Winnipeg. Dieter Brock, again, is putting on an aerial circus. He's hitting Goodlow and Poplawski in the house with anything he can get going. And early in the football game for Winnipeg's first touchdown, he throws a pass downfield to Rick House, and House will make a good catch on it on a 28-yard gain to get Winnipeg down into scoring position. As you see, the offensive line has given Brock the protection that he needs today. This took a little bit more time than a normal pass. House makes the catch, picks up a few more yards. Tackles made by Marcellus Green. So Winnipeg is now in scoring position, and just 1 or 2 plays later, he's got Zach Jones one-on-one again on Rick House. The House goes down the field, man coverage, blitz and linebackers, and again, good protection by the offensive line. House breaks out to the sideline, and that's the first touchdown on the board for the Bombers. The Bombers controlled plays entirely early in the game. The longer the game went, the stronger the Bombers became, the more pressure they put on Holloway. In the second quarter, Dieter Brock goes back off play action right here. He pumps, throws down the middle on a post pattern to Eugene Goodlow. He makes the catch at the 2 and stumbles into the end zone. That's good coverage right there by the cornerback for the Argonauts, Rose, but there's not much you can do about it when the ball's thrown inside to the receiver, and the receiver then slows down to shield the defender from getting to the ball. Brock hits Goodlow. Goodlow scores a touchdown.
16 of 26, Dieter Brock completed in the first half, 212 yards. He now needs just 15 to break the record he established a year ago of 304 completions. It looked a year ago when he won the Shenley Award in setting that record, but that was a mark that might stand for a long time. The ink was barely dry.
outstanding statistics last season for Dieter. You know, it's hard to believe that he could throw the ball that many times. His ratio of interception was unbelievable. Fantastic amount of yards, and yet with 4 games remaining, he only needed 30 passes to set the record in the books again. So again, he's like, what as you said, 15 or 16 passes with 3 games. There's no doubt he's going to rewrite them. It's hard to believe that he can rewrite the record book that convincingly that much in 2 years.
Well, only the offense that the Argonauts had in that first half was Cedric Minter. Minter was a pass receiver. He ran with the ball. They even ran Minter on a fake 3rd down punt. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, the ball snapped, direct snap to Cedric Minter. He's got Peter Mueller at right guard. He pulls. Bruce Clark is the other up back. They lead him around the corner. You'll see Mueller blocking on Norman, and then Clark just kind of runs over people right there. He doesn't block Burrell. He just runs over him. And then he goes down looking for someone else. Minter gets squeezed to the sidelines and out of bounds. And as I say, that has been the show for the Argonauts this afternoon. It's been Cedric Minter. Holloway's had trouble holding on to the football. He's had a couple fumbles. But you have to give the Winnipeg defensive front four a lot of credit. They have put a lot of heat on Conrich Holloway.
You know, despite the fact Winnipeg is leading 24-3, it could be a lot worse. The Blue Bombers had opportunities for at least 2 more touchdowns, which they failed to convert.
You had opportunities for touchdowns, plus the wind prevented them from making a field goal early in the game when they were going against it. So, yes, it could be a lot worse.
24-3 is the halftime score at Winnipeg Stadium. The Blue Bombers leading the Argonauts, and we'll continue with our halftime show right after this. The first half of this ball game totally dominated by the Blue Bombers, as many expected. They are after their 3rd consecutive win, and if successful, would move into a 2nd-place tie with BC in the West. It's been an aerial circus for Dieter Brock once again. 16 of 26 for 212 yards, 259 yards total offense. Winnipeg dropping Conrad Holloway for losses of 25 yards. They have less than 100 yards total offense, and in first downs, Winnipeg with a big edge over the Argonauts. Penalties have not been a factor so far in this football game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers in front by a margin of 24-3. 2 turnovers by the Argonauts, fumbles by quarterback Conrad Holloway, once in attempting to pass, the other in the exchange from center Doug Smith. We'll return right after this message.
Money on it.
The Blue Bombers have been putting all sorts of pressure on Toronto quarterback Conrad Holloway. People like defensive tackle John Helton have just been rearing back and coming every play.
Well, we feel that on a day like today, that's what you have to do. And we know that he can burn us on his running, but and we appreciate his passing abilities also, but it's just a situation today where we have to turn our ears back and go after him. And if they hit us on a run or whatever, well, we're coming back again on the same situation.
All right, John, good luck in the second half.
Thanks a lot, Don.
John Helton, the veteran defensive tackle for the Blue Bombers, the 1972 and 74 Shenley Award winner. Dieter Brock, the 1980 Shenley Award winner as the country's outstanding player. And, of course, the nominators across the country have already submitted their first ballots for 1981. I would think that Dieter Brock will be getting some consideration from the Winnipeg nominators on the first ballot. What a year he is enjoying. In Toronto, Cedric Minter is probably a leading candidate as not only a rookie, but their most valuable player.
He certainly has. He's been about all they've had. They were really high on signing this young man when he signed with the Argonauts. It was a big announcement. I think he's lived up to everything they expected from him. You can't expect him to go out there and look like an all-star when he's playing with and behind different people every week. I think that for a youngster, he definitely has a future in this league, and he's one guy that they can count on next year. And boy, I'll tell you, it's tough when you're trying to rebuild a team and half the team's rookies and you don't know who's going to be playing. The hardest working guy on the team, you know who it is? The equipment man. When he has to sew all those names on those jerseys for, I think we went to 125 of them one year.
Well, talking about individual honors, Ray Yawk in 1980 was named Coach of the Year in the CFL, and it looks as though Eugene Goodlow is getting some of his muscles stretched just a little there. The Bombers in this second half, to start with, will be operating against the wind as they did to start the football game. Cedric Minter breaks a couple of tackles and runs it up to the 40-yard line, brought down there by Vernon Paul.
I know, talking to Coach Yawk before the ball game started, he likes, you know, if the wind's going to blow like it is, he likes to play at home because that way he gets the wind in the fourth quarter. And I'll tell you, when you go into the fourth quarter, if you are down, you know where you stand, you know what you have to do. So it's worked out to his advantage. In fact, everything's worked out to the Bombers' advantage today from talking with him about their game plan.
Well, Dan Minucci, who came to the club from the Buffalo Bills of the NFL about 4 games ago, is moving into the quarterbacking spot, replacing Conrad Holloway, and he calls on Cedric Minter for the first carry, and he is stopped by John Helton. Ralph Sazio was telling me yesterday that Minucci reminds him an awful lot of Tom Clements, at least in his style and his ability to roll out of there and throw very quickly on the run.
Well, if he can have the career Clements has had up here, then he'll be a good one.
Actually, Sazio is saying he was following Minucci very closely when he was still associated with the Tiger Cats. This is Minter trying to get the first down. He is stopped about 3 yards shy of that forward marker by Reggie Pearson. The Argonauts send in their punting unit. However, that doesn't mean anything, as we saw in the second quarter.
You don't think they'd try another one, do you? You see Minter going to his right side. He gets through, but Pearson comes up and makes a good hit on him to prevent him from reaching first down territory.
Andrusician stands back at his own 33-yard line. He has difficulty in handling the ball. He goes down. He tries to throw it ahead. And Winnipeg will take over with excellent field position. Ken Cianconi was the first man in on Zenon Andrusician.
When it rains, it pours. The snap to Andrusician, he just was unable to handle it, and the ball rolls free. He's got a Bomber coming at him right there. He tries to roll it forward to Minter, but no avail. The ball rolls around, and Minter does grab it, but boy, it's tough to start out that way because the Bombers, you know, at least make them work the ball down the field. They don't have to. You see Andrusician having troubles right there. Tried to flip it underhand to Minter, and it rolled forward. So the Bombers can put more points on the board.
Winnipeg with excellent field position. 1st and 10 at the Toronto 36. Brock to Goodlow. He couldn't hang on. Don Rose was covering him.
Pretty good coverage right there by Rose. Just a slant pattern to Goodlow. He goes up, takes a couple steps, and slants to the inside. The ball's a little bit high. He tries to pull it down, but Rose gets his hands in there and strips it. So the ball falls to the ground harmlessly. No problem.
2nd and 10, Winnipeg at the 36. Over the middle to Poplawski. He may have fought for the first down. He appeared to be stopped initially by Marcellus Green, then he fell forward, and it's going to be very close to that forward marker.
Brock's back looking. He sees Poplawski coming underneath and across the field, and he just hits him. They come out to put a good hit on him, knock his momentum away, and he staggers backwards and falls for the first down. As you see here, he goes up and then right underneath, just running underneath. He's got his back coming. Marcellus Green gets a hold of him, gets a good hit, and I think they knocked him backwards for the first down.
They do have the first down. Ball is at the 25. Goodlow, one-on-one with Rose. He is unable to get away from him, but does have a gain of 8.
Good control pattern against the wind anytime. They've been thrown deep to Goodlow and forcing him off. This time he just goes out, stops after 2 yards. Brock throws it right at him. He's one-on-one with the corner outside. The corner winds up having to make the tackle and makes a good tackle.
Again, the Bombers send in their short yardage unit. Coming out of the game, House and Poplawski. Big John Helton goes in along with Leo Ezrin. Second and a yard and a half, Winnipeg. They give it to William Miller. He is across the 15, and that would be enough for a first down. Barring penalty, there are no flags on the play. The veteran John Helton, what a career he has carved in the CFL, most of it with the Calgary Stampeders, most recently, of course, with Winnipeg.
John Helton is an offensive lineman, gets inside position on the linebacker, gives him a little bump, and then decides, I'll just watch and see what goes on here.
The ball is at the 13, 1st and 10, Winnipeg. Block. Goodlow, they rule no catch. He hung onto the ball.
That's a tough catch Goodlow just made right there, because he wasn't quite finished with his pattern when Brock had to let the ball go, and he put it right on his numbers, but he just was out of bounds, and no doubt about it, he was way out. As you see, Dieter will come out here. As you can see, he makes his cut, throws the ball, hits him right in the numbers, but his foot goes out of bounds. There's not much you can do it. Goodlow's looking to the inside. He takes the pump, forces himself to the outside, comes back to the football, but can't get his feet down in bounds. Good coverage. Rose hasn't been that far off of Goodlow in a lot of patterns today. Goodlow's just kept him away from the football.
It's 2nd and 10 from the 13. Brock almost had it picked off. Zach Jones stepped in front of the intended receiver, Rick House. There's a lot of green grass ahead of him had he been able to squeeze that football.
Again, Brock had a lot of time to throw. When Rick House can go down the field about 12 yards and then straight across to the other side of the field, you're getting a lot of time to throw the football. You see the offensive line doing a good job picking him up. Brock's looking around, comes back to his left. He spots House. Zach Jones cuts in front, just can't hold on, but there was a lot of green grass in front of him if he does. It's good coverage.
This prompts another field goal attempt by Trevor Kennard. It's good. There's also a penalty flag on the play. We'll be back to sort this one out, but first, let's pause for this message. Well, the call against Toronto was offside. Winnipeg declined, so the field goal stands, and it's Winnipeg 27, Toronto 3, with 10:48 remaining in this third quarter. Well, a lot of action in the CFL this Thanksgiving Day weekend. A lot of action in the Canadian Intercollegiate Athletic Union in the upcoming week. We'll tell you about that in just a minute. Trevor Kennard's kickoff hangs high. Finally taken by Jones. Jones runs into a pile-up of jerseys at the 45, and that's where the Argonauts will scrimmage. And Dan Minucci will continue to quarterback the Argonauts in this second half. 45-yard kick by Kennard. And the return by Zach Jones was 15 yards. 10 games are scheduled in the CIAU next weekend, including St. Mary's at Acadia, Concordia at Bishop, and Carleton at Queens. All those games start at 2 o'clock on Saturday, October 17th. Minucci quickly to Dorn. Dorn spins for a first down across midfield to the Winnipeg 54. Stopped finally by Charles Williams.
That's the first ball thrown in Dorn's direction today, and he made the catch. He's looking right back into the sun. Minucci threw the ball on time. He made the catch and bounced around a little bit and got pretty good yardage out of it. But that's his first chance to catch a football, and he came up big with it.
Mike Holmes, the injured Bomber wide receiver, he suffered a torn Achilles tendon early in the year. That's a tough injury to come back from, but Mike Holmes is determined that he'll be back in the lineup next season. Pass was inside again, this time to Carinci, and it's incomplete.
Well, I think Minucci's got the right idea here. They got to throw the football to get back in the ball game, and there's no sense continually running the ball when you're down 27-3, and he's taking advantage of the short passing game right now to get a little bit of feel for the game, and he'll be ready to go.
A sunny afternoon in Winnipeg. The temperature at game time, 18 degrees Celsius, but that very strong south wind has been a factor. Minucci in trouble. He is dropped by Pete Caton. The rookie out of Eastern Illinois has the speed from that defensive end slot, and he just blew through there. The Bombers were blitzing. Leo Ezerins was also coming from the same side.
You see right there, they get the heat up the middle. Ezerins breaks free straight up the middle, and Minucci did not have the confidence in his offensive line to stand in there. Ezerins was picked up, but he chased him out of the pocket, and the defensive end's out there waiting on you, and he ran into the arms of Pete Caton. And it's only a matter of time that they start blitzing rookie quarterbacks.
And position, kicking with the wind. Good kick. It's going to go out of bounds, I believe. Yes, it does.
Excellent kick.
A rule that it went out at the 5-yard line. A 62-yard kick by Zenon Andrusician. And, of course, no opportunity for Paul Bennett to make a return. 9:04 is the time left in this third quarter. Winnipeg leading 27-3. But the way the Blue Bombers have dominated the game, Ron, as we pointed out at halftime, they should be ahead by more.
Yeah, they could have a few more touchdowns if everything would have broke for them when they got down close and had to settle for field goals. But all in all, you know, talking to the coaches before the game and the way they had the game plan set up defensively, it's just about work to perfection from the defensive side of the ball.
Peter Brock, 13 passes away from rewriting the CFL record for completions in a single season. He now needs 12 more as he hits Goodlow going out of bounds at the 9-yard stripe.
When you're on your 5-yard line going against the wind as strong as it is, and you come out throwing a play-action pass and hitting a quick out on first down, you're playing with a lot of confidence. You have a lot of confidence in the receiver, and everybody's got confidence in you because he didn't hesitate. He just stepped back and let it go.
2nd and 6, Winnipeg. The drop play with William Miller. They do, well, maybe they did get the first down. He's across the 15, upset there by John Martini. The placement of the ball will be all important here. They have got a first down.
Play. John Martini made a good play to prevent him, you know, from getting a bigger gain. The offensive line opened it up underneath. You see right here, center blocks back, up the hole comes Butler. He's looking for somebody, and Miller just follows him into the secondary.
I think even you or I might have been able to run through that hole, although I know with me it would have taken a lot longer to get there.
Well, I was going to say maybe you, not me.
William Miller tried to go inside, then he's forced wide by Selfrick, and he's caught by Roberts for a loss of about 5. Reggie Lewis, from his defensive end position, was the man who initially forced Miller back.
Miller doesn't like this. The reason for it is he has to go. There's no way for him to go. Reggie comes in. Uh-oh, guy got a hold of him pretty good, doesn't he? Reggie doesn't like to be held now. He's going to remind him of that in a little bit. No defensive lineman ever likes to be held.
Reggie Lewis, who had his wish granted when he suggested earlier in the season that he would like to be traded to the Toronto Argonauts. Jack Buda complied in exchange for Dan Bass. The pass for Goodlow, he's got it, first down. He's taken out of bounds by Rose at the 28.
Well, they seem to be working on Rose a lot, and, you know, he is new, he is a rookie, but he's not in very bad position here. This ball's thrown well. Goodlow runs a good pattern, and the ball, there's not much you can do about that. He's gone in, not bad coverage right there for a youngster. As you'll see, Goodlow just comes off by himself. He's only 2 men out pattern, drives him deep, turns him around a little bit. Brock throws the ball there. Rose makes a tackle, but he did a good job by making the defensive back turn his back and then break away from him.
Well, when you prepare for a game like this by watching a quarterback who has completed 41 of 47, you must be a little shell-shocked.
Oh, you've got to be shell-shocked.
The pass intended for Goodlow, incomplete. We have a timeout with Winnipeg leading by 24. Tonight and tomorrow, CBC presents a special 2-part documentary on Canada's World War II internment camps, The Spies Who Never Were, tonight and tomorrow on CBC.
The Argonauts finally got a little bit of pressure on Brock that time, and he had to scramble out of the pocket. And when you scramble out of there and try to throw into the wind, a lot of times it doesn't sail as the way you want to, and it went into the ground on him.
Under a little pressure there from Reggie Lewis. It was an attempted screen to William Miller. It almost hit Larry Butler in the back.
Put the pressure on him one play, he comes right back and throws a screen to relieve that pressure for later in the game. Just a little bit too fast. Reggie got the pressure on him before he wanted him. You're going to get pressure on a screen, but it's got to take a little bit longer, but Brock couldn't wait. He had to get rid of it. See, Reggie Lewis should not come free on that. The pressure should come from the side you're throwing the screen to. Reggie just beat somebody, which he's been known to do.
He has been known to beat a few people while in the employ of the Calgary Stampeders. Bob Cameron's third down punt, and Brent Brissett came very close to blocking it. Carinci on the return. And Toronto will enjoy good field position. The ball is at the Winnipeg 47. A 32-yard kick and a run back by Jan Carinci of 13 yards.
Ron Meeks has come close a couple times on the punt rush. In fact, the whole Argonaut team's come after the kicker a lot more today than you normally see in a football game. They haven't got one, but they've pressured him.
Well, we apologize for any difficulties you may have with the shadows of the West Side Grandstand, causing problems on your television set. They are also creating a great deal of difficulty for our video operator, and he is attempting to do the best he can under the circumstances. Paul Pearson, the intended receiver. Vernon Paul was defending on him.
To play Holloway liked to run a little bit of play action and then try to get outside with the football. And Vernon Paul did a good job of staying with Paul Pearson that time when the ball was overthrown. Pretty difficult on those linebackers to have to run with backs. And Paul was not very far away.
Tommy Hudspeth hasn't lost his sense of humor in talking about this game, and Dieter Brock's 41 of 47 efforts. He says, we can't complete that many in practice.
Well, I tell you, that's hard to do.
It is almost picked off. Paul Bennett just came up on the intended receiver, Peter Mueller, and belted him after it went off his fingertips. And Bennett has the reputation of being quite a hitter.
Oh, he can hit. And if he hadn't been so intent on really getting a good lick on him, he'd have probably got this pass as it tips off his hands. But he's already decided what he's going to do, and there it is. He put a good hit on Mueller and just dropped him. Then he looked at him to say, you're not going to get up, are you? I have to do it again.
A field goal attempt by Zenon Andrusician as Paul Bennett retreats. He is the only one going back for Winnipeg. Kick it good. Not a classic for the Big Z, but it went through the uprights, and it's 27-6 with 4:32 left in this third quarter.
It wasn't pretty, but it went through there. I don't know how it made it. It looked like one of those dead balls. It just gets up there and keeps fluttering with the wind, but the wind threw it through there at the end. That's all that matters.
I think Andrusician himself was a little surprised that it went through.
See what Big Z has to say. Oh, there's nothing to it.
At first, I thought he thought he had missed it.
Oh, he definitely did. It didn't look like it should have been good, but the wind wouldn't let it hit the ground.
A 54-yard field goal by Zenon Andrusician. William Miller is caught at the 40, a gain of 5.
It's a good thing Russ got a hold of him there, or he's going to get outside to a lot of green grass on the outside there, and Russ just got a foot. Brought him down.
Miller is hurt. He returned last week against the Ottawa Rough Riders after being sidelined for 2 games with an ankle injury.
There you see, big Bobby Thompson blocks down. Bastaya leads up through the hole. He makes the block on the one linebacker, but here's Russ. Just gets him by the ankles, or he's got some room and plus a blocker out in front of him.
And it could be that he has re-injured that somewhat tender ankle. And defensive back Don Burrell is also having some problems on the sidelines as they work on what appears to be his calf muscle. That right ankle being favored by Miller as he heads to the bench, and that does not look good for the Blue Bombers. Bruce Wilkins, number 32, coming into the game to replace William Miller.
I don't think Bruce has the same speed that Miller has.
No, I don't think he's the breakaway threat that William Miller is. Probably means Brock will throw it even more than he has. Bringing it out to Hucklack. He beats the first man and then gets the first down.
I think Brock was looking for Poplowski again underneath, but he couldn't find him. And he stepped up in the pocket and in the last minute just flipped the ball out to Hucklack, and he makes the first down.
Well, an encouraging sign for Blue Bomber fans with William Miller now up and walking at the Winnipeg bench.
I believe they'll let him rest for a while. Make sure that thing's okay. They're going to need him next week.
Yes, next week they have a big game against the British Columbia Lions. A game that could eventually determine second place in the West. On first down, the second man through is Hucklack, and he has a couple of yards before he is stopped by Reggie Lewis. We have a timeout with 3 minutes remaining in quarter 3. 2nd and 8, the situation facing Dieter Brock and the Blue Bombers as they scrimmage at the Winnipeg 47-yard line. We remind you at the conclusion of the game to stay tuned for the Carling O'Keefe Game Stars the outstanding offensive and defensive performers. Dieter Brock certainly will merit some consideration for the outstanding offensive performer in this game. Intended for Goodlow, he was being covered by Rose once again. So it's third down, Winnipeg.
He sent two receivers out again, kept maximum protection. He keeps both backs in to help him. This time he tries to send Goodlow to the post inside of him, and he tried to throw the ball hard to split that seam right there, and now the wind will affect the ball. When you throw it, try to drill it in there, you don't get the perfect spiral, the wind will knock it down. And the defensive backs had him covered. There was two of them, and he would have been a difficult catch at the best for him. Yes.
Here's the third down kick. Carinci takes it at the 30. To the 36, and then he's driven back by Ken Chantoni, who does quite a job for Winnipeg on those special teams. A 31-yard kick and a 4-yard return by Carinci. We remind you that this program is copyright and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited. .209 is the time left in the third quarter. The pass complete to Martin Cox. Cox breaks a couple of tackles and carries to the Winnipeg 50-yard line, where he's finally brought down by Vernon Fall. That's the first time they've gone to Cox this afternoon.
First time. Minucci's gone to both wide receivers. Just a quick drop, about a 3-step drop, and he just throws the ball right at him. Cox makes the catch, breaks a couple tackles, and makes good yardage for him. But they've only thrown to both their wide receivers one time, and Minucci's been the one to do it.
Disappointing crowd taking in this afternoon's ball game, 22,757. A gain of 23 on that pass to Cox. They were trying to go for David Dorn. He was overthrown by Minucci.
Came right back with the same pattern, but to a different receiver. Just got it up in the air and a little bit overthrown.
Conrad Holloway started the game for the Argonauts. He was shaken up early, was able to come back, but was unable to put much offense together for the Double Blue. Minucci has worked this second half. Complete to Carinci. Carinci breaks one tackle. He gets the first down to the Winnipeg 38. He was stopped by Reggie Pearson and Ken Chantoni.
They put pressure on him that time. They brought their backers after him. He just took a quick drop. Here comes Reed up the middle. He just stops, throws the ball. Carinci just runs a short post, looks in, catches the ball, spins away from Pearson, and picks up the first down. Good thing he got rid of it. Reed was coming free.
Indication of how that wind is continuing to blow. With less than a minute remaining in this third quarter. Complete to Martin Cox. He could be gone. Touchdown, Toronto. Well, they waited until the third quarter to go to Martin Cox, and he puts a touchdown on the board for the Argonauts.
Again, just a quick step, 3-step drop. It's a quick slant to Cox. He hits him. He gets to the inside on Burrell and just wins the foot race with Bennett for the touchdown. Well executed. It's a real 1, 2, 3. 3-step, lets it go. Hits him on stride. He's inside, and he's got better speed than I think they thought he had, and he gets into the secondary, and he's into the end zone.
For Martin Cox, his second touchdown of the season. On the point after attempt, Holloway had difficulty handling the football, and the score will hold at Winnipeg 27 and Toronto 12. Well, in all fairness to Conrad Holloway, it appeared to be a bad snap. Here's Minucci throwing to Cox again.
Just threw him a quick slant. He caught it to the inside, broke to the outside, and outran Paul Bennett into the end zone.
Not an afternoon that Conrad Holloway will care to recall.
No, it's not one of his better days. He's having some problems hanging on to that football today.
33 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 27-12, Winnipeg leading. Now, not only will the Argonauts have the scoreboard to contend with in just a few seconds, but they will also be going against that strong south wind. Then in Andrusician, earlier had contributed 2 field goals, one at 54 yards. Kicks off for the Argonauts. Faison fumbles the ball. It bounces off his chest, and he was fortunate to be able to pick it up. He got out to the 25-yard line. Not a bad return after he mishandled the kickoff.
That happens a lot of times, Don, when that ball's kicked down in there, and the receiver goes to catch it and misses it and fumbles it around. It sometimes gets him out of their lanes chasing the football, and he finds a big seam. He takes a good shot, but he's got a good return. And it happens a lot of times because there's something about when that football's free, everybody wants the ball, and they sometimes leave their lane to coverage, and it gets them into trouble.
Don Burrell, who was back with Faison on that kickoff return pairing, heading to the bench, and obviously, along with Vince Faison, discussing with Coach Yock just what went wrong. William Miller is back for Winnipeg. However, he is going nowhere in the grasp of Zach Jones.
Zach Jones stayed home. William Miller tried to run the same play, been running, no place to go, so he bounced it to the backside. But this Zach Jones, the inside safety on that side, just stayed at home and made the play. No gain.
Second down, Winnipeg. Zach Jones playing his first game for the Argonauts after being picked up from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Second down, Winnipeg. Brock looking for Rick House on the sidelines, incomplete. Pressure from Bruce Clark. That will be the final play of the third quarter. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead the Toronto Argonauts by 15 points. He isn't ordering food for the post-game party. He's discussing some of the defensive alignments the Bombers will be going into following this Bob Cameron third down kick. With the wind, he caught it. Carinci fields it at the 32. He's done a good job of returning them for the Argonauts this afternoon. He gets it back to the 48-yard line. A 53-yard kick by Bob Cameron. And for Jan Carinci, a return of 16 yards. Miss Blue Bomber for 1981. And Miss Coyle will be joining a number of other young ladies from across the country in the Miss Grey Cup pageant to take place in Montreal during Grey Cup week. Minucci trying to get outside. His arm was hit just as he threw by John Helton.
His arm was hit by Helton, and the play was made by Tony Norman. It forced him to pull that up. He was trying to roll to the outside again, but Norman wouldn't let him. And when he pulled up, Helton got to him from the inside. You see, he's trying to get outside. He's got to get rid of the ball. Just as he lifts it to throw, somebody's got hold of him. Tony Norman's got him. Norman put some pretty good heat on them Toronto quarterbacks today.
Yes, he has. On second down, intended for Dorn. It was off his fingertips as he was hit by Charles Williams. So the Argonauts will be forced to kick it away.
Quick slant. Just a little bit too high, couldn't hold it. Williams was on it. I don't think he would have made the first down anyway because Williams came up real quick when the ball was thrown.
As I mentioned earlier, the attendance this afternoon, 22,757. Blue Bomber management will not be pleased with the crowd this afternoon. I think they were hoping to put about 30,000 into the stands, and in view of the fact that this game was so important, one would think that more people would have turned out. Good third down kick by Andrusician into the wind. It's fielded by Bennett. From his own 25, penalty flags fly as Bennett goes down at the 30.
Bennett looks like he really enjoys catching those punts back there. He brings that thing upfield the way he should. He runs into people, takes some good licks, but he jumps right back up.
Well, of course, the Wilfrid Laurier graduate holds the CFL record.
Holding, Winnipeg number 20. First down.
Charles Williams was caught holding on the punt return by Bennett.
Did you see him start up through there? You can see right there, Williams has a hold of somebody. No, referee catching. Bennett takes some shots, bounces off, takes 2 or 3 more good hits before he goes down. That's why he hits so hard on defense. He's getting even. All those punts.
Back at their own 17. Brock swinging it off to Miller. Miller hit immediately and dropped by Ron Southwick.
I believe Brock was looking to go deep there. He pumped his arm 2 or 3 times, but They were covered pretty good downfield, and he was forced to lay it off to Miller.
He initially, Ron, was looking downfield for Goodlow, who had coverage by Roberts.
Roberts was right with him, step for step, so good thing he didn't throw it there.
Ron Southwick, somewhat disgruntled linebacker, who has indicated that he would prefer to be traded if he is not going to be a starter with the Argonauts. Oh, Brock was under pressure that time. He threw to Goodlow, but Reggie Lewis came in on him. There are also penalty flags on the play.
Reggie Lewis put some heat on him. Brock tried to plant and throw back to the backside, and when you turn around, Reggie Lewis was right in his face.
It appears as though the penalty is against Toronto. Here's referee Shallow.
Offside, Toronto, center of the line.
That means they missed a number, I guess. Brock goes back. He's looking to his right. He plants. Now he's trying to come backside, and there he is. Reggie Lewis got there in a hurry and forced a high throw. But Reggie Lewis can rush the passer.
Second down, the drop play with Miller. He is not going to get the first down. I think he'll be about 1.5 yards short. Leon Lescavich was the man who made the tackle. Let's see where they place it. It's close enough to call for a measurement. It looks as though it is 1 yard short anyway. 12:23 is the time left to play. Winnipeg in front, 27-12. Well, it's not as
pretty close
short as I originally thought. And that means that Winnipeg will endeavor to obtain possession on this third down play.
You see right here, Thompson blocks down, and Bastalia comes around on the Southwick and does a good job blocking him. Of course, he's got him hooked there a little bit, but he gets him out of the play, and Lescavich makes the tackle to prevent the first down. But I think Brock can get this. What do you think?
Well, he's been successful in all his other third down gambles. Third and inches, he should have it.
You know Brock will carry it because when a quarterback gets in trouble, he always gives it to his best back. Always.
I had a feeling you would say that.
Just always does that for some reason. I don't know.
The nimble-footed number 23 making that comment.
When you get in trouble, give it to your best back. He looked around. He was the only one he could find.
That pass was knocked down right at the line of scrimmage by Lescavich, and now Reggie Lewis and Bobby Thompson engage in a little shoving match. However, other players quickly intervene.
That is two giants going to fight. Thompson is scary. Just look at him walk around when you're 6'8".
He blocks out the sun.
Oh, Leon bats that thing right down. If he picks that off, you know, he would have walked in there. He wouldn't have known how to act then. I mean, Bobby Thompson, a big man, over 300 pounds, standing about 6'8". Now, I know Reggie Lewis is big, but he might have to grow up to fight with that man.
They've got two big people at that tackle position, Winnipeg does, at the offensive spot. 6'6", Frank Smith. 6'8", Bobby Thompson. William Miller gets the block. Short of the first down, however, by about 1.5 yards. John Martini puts the grab on William Miller.
It's a good thing Brock got rid of the ball because Reggie Lewis was right there again, and he reached for the ball that time instead of Brock, and the ball went underneath his arm to Miller, and Miller turns it into a good game.
11:08, the time remaining in the ball game as Bob Cameron comes in once again for the third down kick. Carinci, number 77, going back. Cameron stands at his own 22. Carinci is way back at his own 7-yard line. The Argonauts are going after it. Cameron had to hurry that kick, and it sails out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it. They're going to rule that it went out at about the 33, and we'll be back with the Argonauts' first down play after this. Well, the Blue Bombers continue to lead the Argonauts in this fourth quarter, but Ron, in the second half, the Blue Bombers have not looked sharp.
No, they haven't looked as sharp as they have in their past couple games, and even as they did in the first quarter. But, you know, they got a convincing lead, and it's hard to keep that intensity going for 3 weeks at a time, and just fortunate they got the lead.
Minucci at quarterback. Looking downfield, it's picked off. Grabbed by Paul Bennett. And the play is whistled down at the 42-yard line. A rather unusual situation where Paul Bennett was indicating to the guys who were coming up to try and make the tackle, hold it, fellas, the whistle's gone.
I really don't understand this one. The ball's definitely overthrown badly, you know, over top everybody's head. But the linesman signals incomplete, so the referee blows the whistle and kills the play. Now, Paul Bennett's not going to be too happy.
The Blue Bombers and their fans aren't particularly happy either.
I've never seen that before. That's a first. You know, you don't get too many of those back there, Bennett says, and you went and took one away from me.
Well, they had whistled that play down, believing that the ball had been knocked away. There goes Minucci in the grasp of 3 Winnipeg defenders.
Ron Cherkis has made a couple big plays today. This time he gets free up the middle just as Minucci's ready to throw the ball. You'll see these 2 big hands appear right there. He's ready to throw. Cherkis forced him to pull it down, and when he does, he runs into all kind of trouble downstairs. Good coverage in the secondary, but right here, Cherkis goes up in the air and forces Minucci to pull it down, and when he does, the rest of the Bombers are there to sack him.
So on third down, Brennan Andrusician retreats to his 10-yard line. 9:39 the time left in the ball game. The kick bounces to Gary Rosavowicz. Rosavowicz trying to get outside and finally goes out of bounds at the Argonaut 50. Tomorrow night, May holds a dance marathon at Le Club. But when she discovers that the promoter has promised the young contestants prizes he cannot deliver, she sets out to stop it. They shoot flappers, don't they? Find out tomorrow on CBC. Little swing pass to William Miller. Trying to go outside. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all, but it's another completion for Dieter Brock.
Dieter set 3 receivers out there and just had them run off the defensive secondary, take them deep, and then just dumps the ball to Miller as he swings out into the open area. But they reacted up very quickly. He completed a pass for a 1-yard gain.
Now, Paul Bennett's still a little disturbed about what he thought should have been an interception. And, in fact, it was, except the play had been whistled dead.
I think I'd have to agree with him.
On second down, Brock getting pressure from the backside from Reggie Lewis, and he goes down. The first quarterback sack of the day for the Toronto Argonauts as Brock has dropped for 4.
This is what they brought Reggie Lewis in there for. They brought him in there to chase down quarterbacks. You see Brock is back there. All of a sudden, Reggie appears. He gets his hand on that jersey, and when he gets hold of you, you're not going to get away. As you see him get around the blocker there, Brock's in trouble. This is what Reggie Lewis's main strength is rushing quarterbacks.
The Argonauts came close to getting a block kick. They're going after him again, and this time Cameron sails it into the end zone. Carinci takes it in the end zone, and he runs it out to the 5-yard line. He was hit by Willie Thomas. A 62-yard kick by Bob Cameron, and on the return, 15 yards for Jan Carinci.
I don't agree with him running it out, but I'll tell you one thing. When he made up his mind, he didn't hesitate. He took 3 or 4 good shots there and bounced around, and he had no help at all down there because they were trying to block that punt again. And again, Meeks came very close. That's a good return.
Excellent return. However, the Argonauts don't have much room in which to maneuver as they are back in their own 6-yard line. Carinci was overthrown by quarterback Minucci.
hard to tell just who he was throwing that one to. Carinci ran an out at about 6 yards, and his wide receiver went around 10 yards. And when you're back there, the quarterback can't really see that wide receiver. Can't see him. He's what they call fence post. There's a guy right in front of him. You can't see him. That's not great field position to go against a 70-mile-an-hour wind.
The Argonauts trailing by 15 with 7:38 left in the game. On second down, over the middle, but they are short of the first down. Reggie Pearson was there to make the tackle on Paul Pearson. It's going to be 3rd and 1.
Minucci took a quick drop, and he read it quick there, and he just fired it in there. He completed the pass, and he's up close enough for the first down to where I think you have to go for it regardless if you're on your own, too. James Reed sits there. He reads the quarterback. He sees where the ball's going. Now he's off to find the ball carrier. And he gets in on the tackle, along with Faison.
So a big 3rd down gamble here for the Argonauts. Minucci keeps. It's going to be close. With 7:01 remaining, we have a timeout. We'll be back with the measurement after this. Well, the placement of the ball went against the Toronto Argonauts, much to the dismay of quarterback Dan Minucci, but to the delight of people like Tony Norman, the Blue Bomber offensive unit will take over as the 3rd down gamble fails. Minucci is still upset. The ball is positioned at the 17 of the Argonauts. A 3rd down gamble that failed, and Winnipeg now in excellent position to put this one away. They lead 27-12 with 6:45 remaining. Penalty flags go down. Brock looking for Konahowski in the end zone. He overthrew him.
Flag down in Bomber backfield. And you'll see right here, he keeps both those backs in. He wants all the blocking he can get. They're double teaming Corrigal right there. He's looking deep for Konahowski. He lets it go. It's just a little bit too far, but the Bombers are going to be called for a penalty.
Holding, Winnipeg, number 68.
Larry Butler is the man charged with the holding infraction.
He was getting help with Corrigal.
The Argonauts take the penalty, moving Winnipeg back to the 27. It will be 1st and 20 now. As you see, Brock requires just 7 more completions. He won't get it on that attempt. His arm was hit by Reggie Lewis. He was looking to throw it off to Dan Hucklack, and just as he released, Reggie Lewis hit his throwing arm.
He sent all his receivers downfield trying to find somebody deep in one of the seams. But the Argonauts were in a man-to-man defense, and so as he looked around, he's forced to dump the ball off to the back. But when somebody hits his hand, so he's looking to his left right now. Now he's looking around. Nobody there. As he goes to throw, Reggie Lewis gets that big arm in there, and he just puts the ball up in the air to nowhere.
2nd and 20 now for Winnipeg. Brock decides to roll out of there. All sorts of time throwing to Goodlow. Has he got anywhere to go? No. He's taken out of bounds at the 20. Ron Southwick was there to make the tackle, but Brock now just 6 completions away from breaking his own record.
He's looking around. He's out here rolling to his left. Goodlow comes back. He didn't have anyone to throw the ball to, and you know he's not going to run. Goodlow says he's just trying for any place where he can get to. He should have got out of bounds faster.
Trevor Kennard has been good on 4 of 5 so far. He'll try to make it 5 out of 6. A field goal try of 27 yards. The Argos came close to blocking it, but it goes through, and Winnipeg now leads 30-12. And again, it was Ron Meeks who came flying in from that right side. 5:37 the time remaining in this game. Winnipeg controlling it 30-12. Next Sunday on CBC, viewers in Calgary, Saskatchewan, and Eastern Canada will see the Calgary Stampeders as they face the Rough Riders in the nation capital. That's next Sunday at 1:30 Eastern Time. And other games in the CFL on Saturday, Montreal at Toronto and Winnipeg against the Lions at Empire Stadium. The pass is intercepted by Williams. He'll score. So that will certainly put it away. It's now 36-12 as Minucci went to the well once too often.
You could see it coming. He pumped that ball, that quick step, quick drop. And this time, Williams didn't give any ground to the outside. He just stepped in front of it. The ball hit him right in the numbers. And when you throw one out there, there's very few people going to catch him. He just waltzes into the end zone, no problem. As you say, Don, he just went one too often because Williams was looking for that pass, and he played it extremely well.
Well, Williams, Burrell, along with Reggie Pearson, Vince Faison, and Paul Bennett, in the opinion of defensive coordinator Leon McKillop, provide the Blue Bombers with the strongest secondary they have had since he has been here. The point after by Trevor Kennard, and it's 38-12 with 5:15, 37-12, pardon me, with 5:15 remaining.
Well, that didn't take long. One pass. Cornerbacks love that. They guess with you, and when they guess right, they come out on top. And he stepped right in front of Cox, and there was no contest.
Well, that creates an interesting situation in the Western Conference. This win will move Winnipeg into a tie for second with British Columbia. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, with a win tomorrow over Hamilton, could move into a tie for second as well, creating a three-way traffic jam. And British Columbia has games remaining at home against both Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. The final couple of weeks are going to be extremely interesting in the CFL, in the Western Division anyway.
Well, they certainly are. Each team can control their own destiny, and that's all you can ask for. Don't need help from anybody.
Zach Jones starts out from his goal area. And he is upset at the 22 by Bruce Wilkins. You know, Ronnie, it's also going to be interesting in the Eastern Conference because next Saturday, the Toronto Argonauts are at home to the Montreal Alouettes in a game that will almost certainly decide third place in the East.
That is surprising. You know, it's hard to believe that you can have one win in October and still be looking at a possibility of getting in the playoffs. But that's the way it is, and next week is a big, big game for these young guys from Toronto. You know, they're getting their experience the hard way, but they're getting it.
Ball is fumbled, and I think Minucci was able to pounce on it, and John Helton pounced on him.
I'll tell you, I don't know who's wrong, but somebody is, because Minucci tried to give the ball first to the back on his left, and he didn't take it, so he turned around and tried to give it to Pearson. Pearson says, I don't want it. So Minucci says, well, okay.
Well, John Helton wanted it.
Yeah, well, that's the wrong guy, yeah.
Mark Jackson also wants it. It looks as though he will be going in place of Dieter Brock, the next time Winnipeg gets the ball. There's pressure from Helton. The pass is thrown. Reggie Pearson almost got to it, intended for Carinci.
Helton put the pressure on him, and he forced him to throw it. It's a good thing he threw it out of bounds, because if it's down, they got another touchdown.
4:21 is the time left to play now. 37-12, Winnipeg leading. Minucci replaced Conrad Holloway to start the second half. Holloway had all sorts of difficulties in the opening 30 minutes, particularly in holding the football. He dropped the ball when he was trying to pass. He fumbled in exchange from center. Of course, in the second half, Minucci has had a pass picked off and returned for a touchdown. Paul Bennett takes the third down punt. Bennett looking for that hole, and he gets to the 42 of the Argonauts. It will be 1st and 10 Winnipeg from that point, and Mark Jackson will now play quarterback for the Blue Bombers. A 40-yard kick by Andrew Zishin, a 14-yard return by Paul Bennett.
Paul Bennett made a good return. He took the ball and started upfield, took the first seam that he found, and just cut upfield to where Paul Pearson was forced to make the tackle.
Goes straight ahead with Dan Hucklack on his first play, and it will be a pickup of about 4 yards. And I'm sure, Ron, that even though you are from the Philadelphia area, you join me in congratulating the Montreal Expos on their 3-0 victory over Philadelphia. And they now advance to the National League Final.
Boy, you certainly do. I'm a Pirates fan, not a Phillies fan.
You gave up Sheridan a long
time ago this year.
Little swing pass to Hucklack. He went down. It looked as though he slipped as he was attempting to make his cut. He stopped short of a first down. With 3 minutes remaining, we have a timeout. It will be 3rd down, Winnipeg. And Trevor Kennard will try for 3 more. Well, Kennard has been good on 5. This would be his 6th, and that is 1 short of the record. Kick is good. A 42-yard field goal for Trevor Kennard, his 6th of the season. But the one he would like to have a shot at is that 65-yard attempt that would have been a CFL record late in the first half. As a matter of fact, the final play of the first half.
A lot of times when you go after a long field goal like that, you know, they just go after it a little bit too hard, and it throws off their kicking motion, which is a very fluid style. It's like hitting a golf ball. Just meet it and let it go. And I think he tried a little bit too hard.
That's the problem with my golf game. I haven't been fluid enough. John Lowe gets outside. He appears to have a first down. Let's see. They rule that he stepped out at the 48, and that is a first down, Toronto.
Well, he's the guy that was in there on the last series of down. This time he just takes the pitch, and he gets outside and shows he's got pretty good speed. Gets a block from Carinci, gets another block outside, and he makes the first down.
First and 10, Toronto. They are at the 48. This time, Lowe is tripped up by Pete Caton.
Try the same play the other way, and the guy blocking down, Pete Caton, just leaps over top of the blocker and gets out to force the man in, forces Lowe inside, and he makes the tackle.
Well, prior to the game, the Blue Bombers were concerned about containing the scrambling of Condredge Holloway. They certainly did that in the first half, and they've done a pretty good job of Minucci in the second as well, although his style is a little different than that of Holloway. Draw play, John Lowe. He is caught and stopped at midfield about 3.5 yards away from a first down by Vernon Paul.
Just a draw play to Lowe. And look, see what they're doing. They brought Rosilowicz all the way up on the line of scrimmage and blitzed him. And he forced Lowe to make an extra move, and then as a result, he misses the first down.
Andrusson goes back to his own 40 for this third down kick. Well, depending on what happens in the final couple of minutes, Trevor Kennard may get an opportunity to equal that CFL record. Ball handled by Paul Bennett. Bennett getting outside. Only Andrusson is back. And the Big Blue got him out at the 46-yard line. A 42-yard kick by Zenon Andrusson and a 33-yard run back by Paul Bennett.
That's an excellent return by Paul Bennett. You know, he's been catching those things and just trying to take the first seam that opens. And again, he finds a little one. He's been taking those shots inside this time. He does the running. They don't get any good shots at him. He gets outside, and only Andrusson is preventing from going for even a longer gain and definitely into Kennard's range.
Mark Jackson still at the controls for Winnipeg. He replaced Dieter Brock with about 5 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. Jackson to the sidelines. It's complete to O'Doherty. He's out of bounds at the 46. A Winnipeg first down.
It's a well-thrown ball right there. The guy has a chance to tie a record right now, doesn't he, Don?
A record that was set against these same Argonauts at Taylor Field in Regina.
Yeah, one day McReady kicked 7 of them. Here you see Jackson back to throw. Takes his time, throws a nice pass out to O'Doherty. He gets upfield and out of bounds. So they got a lot of time to get down there for Kennard to take a shot at that record.
Perkins dragging several would-be tacklers with him to the 40-yard line. It will be second and, well, let's see where they place it. Make it 2nd and 4. The ball is at the 41. Trevor Kennard, who has been successful on 6 attempts this afternoon, he could make it 7 if he gets another field goal opportunity, and that would tie Bob McElready's record. Don't be sacked. Jackson throws incomplete. You're doing a little coaching up here, Ronnie. Yelling, don't get sacked at Mark Jackson.
You know, you don't get people in a position to set records very often, and Trevor's got a chance to tie a record that, 7 kicks in one game, 7 field goals. A sack would have put him out of field goal range, and, I like to see a guy get a shot at a record when it's there. I get a little bit excited when you see that.
Mike Collymore was the intended receiver on that throw by quarterback Mark Jackson. The field goal attempt will come from 49 yards out. It's long enough. It is good.
That's great. That's really good to see. Good little kicker.
Trevor Kennard equaling Bob McElready's record of 7 field goals in one game. Well, it's been quite a year for the Blue Bombers. A week ago, Dieter Brock broke a record. This afternoon, Trevor Kennard equals the record, and before the season is out, Brock will break several more records. Pearson goes down at the 37, 107. You know something? Kennard might just get another shot at it.
I'll tell you what, it's 2nd down and 9. They put the pressure on right here. He could set a brand new record. Wouldn't that be something?
Well, it was obvious in just watching Trevor Kennard on that field goal attempt that it was good. He was bouncing up and down on the turf of Winnipeg Stadium almost from the moment it left his foot. The pitch to John Lowe. Lowe trying to get outside. He does not do it. And the Argonauts will be forced to give up the football with 47 seconds remaining.
If he'd have missed that field goal, he'd have blamed Brock for a bad hold. I'll tell you what, he's going to get another shot at it because they're going to punt the football. Boy, this would be great.
Well, with that very strong wind from the south, he doesn't have to get much closer than midfield for that Toronto goalpost to come within his range.
Well, if Bennett can get another return like he had last time, they're already there.
3rd down kick. It hangs up there. Finally picked up by Reggie Pearson. And Pearson is brought down at the 41 with 23 seconds remaining in the ball game.
23 seconds. They need approximately, what do you say, 15 yards?
15
to give him
yards, right.
A legitimate chance at making it. They get 15 yards, they'll be up close to midfield. He'd be close to the CFL record of 59 yards, wouldn't he?
Well, I think if they get anywhere close with that wind, Coach York might give them a chance anyway.
Oh, I think you'll give him a chance at this. We can just move it up a little bit.
Well, no, it appears as though they are simply going to ground the ball and run out the clock. I wonder if Ray York is even aware of the
a lot of times they're
records.
not, Don. A lot of times you're not aware of things. I know we played down here a few years ago when Joey Walters caught 14 passes. He only needed another pass reception in the last 3 minutes. We could have thrown him anything to set a record, and we didn't even know about it. And when you don't, you really feel badly after it's over, but tying a record's not bad.
Yes, it's been a big afternoon for Trevor Kennard. Mark Jackson takes a look at the clock, simply drops to one knee, and that's the ball game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, for the 3rd consecutive game, go over 40 points in whipping the Toronto Argonauts 43-12. And we'll return with our Carling O'Keefe Game Stars and our post-game show right after this. Now now gone over 40 points in their last 3 games, 133 points in 3 games. Not a bad average, Ron.
Well, I'll tell you, when you're putting the points on the board that fast and that often in a ball game, you really put the pressure on the other team.
Well, there were some outstanding performers in this afternoon's game. It was a difficult choice, making the Carling O'Keefe Game Star selections, but here they are.
And now, the Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Stars.
Tony Norman, the defensive star of the game, and the little guy, Trevor Kennard, very big in the kicking department this afternoon, the offensive star. Trevor, congratulations on equaling Bob McAreedy's record of 7 field goals in a single game.
Thank you very much, Don.
I think the one you'd like to try again, though, is that 65-yarder just before the half ended.
Definitely. During the halftime, all I could do is brood about that final try from 65 yards. With the wind like we had, it's kind of a once-in-a-season shot, and I just failed to get my foot into the football.
Well, you saw that record-equaling field goal sail through the uprights, but you didn't see your own reaction. And take a look at the monitor. At times it must be a little tough, Trevor, to see over those offensive linemen when you put it through.
I guess it is. According to the textbook, you shouldn't watch your ball go through the uprights. However, on that one, I definitely wanted to watch it go through.
Trevor, did you tell Brock to either give you a good hold or you'd kick him through the uprights? Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, well, just let me say, we have an all-world quarterback in Dieter Brock. He's also an all-world holder. And I have never had a better holder. My brother Forrest is good, and I like to say hi to Forrest, but Dieter's just a great holder.
Trevor, do you feel on that long field goal you tried just before the half that because of the distance involved that maybe you didn't go through with your normal kicking style and you tried a little bit too hard? Do you think that might have happened or not?
Yes, sir, Ron. Prior to kicking the field goal, the fans were really cheering, and I must admit, I let it get to me, and I was a little excited. I rushed the kick, and you just can't rush anything in this league. You've got to keep your head down and swing normally, and I just didn't go through with my normal form.
Well, you kicked the ball well anyway. You tied a record. It's a big day for you and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We'd like to congratulate you on you being the offensive star of the game.
Thank you very much, Ron.
And the defensive star of the game, number 55, Tony Norman. Tony, your pregame plan was to put pressure on Condredge Holloway to contain him. A little extra pressure on the defensive ends that you couldn't let him get outside, right?
Oh, definitely. Condredge is a great scrambler by far. I have to say he's probably one of the better scramblers. By far, my game plan basically was just try to keep contained and try to put as much pressure on. They had a new guy at left tackle, and I tried to kind of work inside, outside on him most of the time. Most of the time, he kind of guessed which way I was going, but with a little bit more speed and a lot of experience, I have to say that overall, I should develop him to being one of the greater defensive ends in the league.
Well, Tony, a lot of attention has been focused on Dieter Brock and his passing, the fact that the Bombers have been scoring a lot of points, but your defensive unit has a lot of pride, and you fellas have played well in the last month or so.
Well, I have to say that I have to give Dieter a lot of credit. The offensive line played perfect. I have to say that defense, we've come together as a unit. Individually, I have to give a lot of credit to Big John Hilton, York Henschel, as well as Pete Caton, as well as the DBs. I have to have a special talk with my DBs every week because I really need those guys behind me as well as my linebackers and as well as Trevor.
Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, with that win this afternoon, now in a tie for second place in the Western Conference with British Columbia. A big game coming up next week against the Lions at Empire Stadium.
Definitely.
Tony Norman and Trevor Kennard, congratulations on being chosen our Carling